About 15 miles from Times Square sits Aqueduct Racetrack in South Ozone Park. The story today, trainer Linda Rice. Just hours ago, she made history when George's Vice won the second race. Was the 165th winner Rice saddled this year in New York, a new record. Another story, the final stakes race of the year in New York, the Queens County. Signature is the favorite, arrives with momentum. He's won 2 straight, ridden by Javier Castellano. He won't forget 2023 anytime soon. This year's Kentucky Derby, Belmont, and Travers winning jockey. What about next year's 3-year-old classic races? And too soon to discuss? Probably, but we'll do so anyways. Because today at Oaklawn Park, 10-race schedule just for 2-year-olds. 165 wins on this circuit. Congratulations, Linda Rice. Happy New Year's Eve to her. Happy New Year's Eve to our viewers. As always, coverage brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Aqueduct. Over the decades, so many historic moments. Earlier today, another took place on this New Year's Eve. As for the racing at Oaklawn, yet never mind the history. Today is all about the future. 2-year-olds running in every event. Welcome everyone to Aqueduct alongside Sarah El Badri. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Sarah, happy New Year's Eve to you. I don't know where to start. With what already took place or what we're looking forward to this afternoon.
We've had such a momentous year with so many milestones and accomplishments and firsts in racing and so many to look forward to next year. But what an incredible way to start the day and truly end the year with Linda Rice smashing that NYRA record and winning the most races on the circuit in a single year.
Incredible achievement. We'll have much more on the broken record a little bit later on. In the broadcast, you'll hear from Linda Rice. But first, today's featured event, the Queens County Stakes. Here's the field. Deep, competitive, mile and an eighth, $150,000 purse. Number 5, Signature. Tepid, 3-1. Morning line favorite. Let's revisit his latest right here, mid-November. Same mile and an eighth distance, Sarah. Signature and Javier Castellano in command, turning for home.
Recording a career best 94 Beyer speed figure for this effort, going a mile and an eighth, and he's just one that's really seemed to take gradual steps forward as he's gotten into racing fitness. This is a patient approach for the barn. This is Shug McGahee's style of letting those horses race themselves into fitness and their ability, and he seems to be improving at the right time, though this is a deep and competitive field that he'll be facing today.
Yeah, a Signature trained by Shug McGahee, who told the Daily Racing Form, quote, like, that's the race I've been looking for. McGahee seeking a 4th win in the Queens County, Sarah. In terms of competition, though, who should Shug, if he's watching, who should he be worried about the most?
Perhaps Constitution Lawyer towards the inside, also in great form right now as well. And Kinetic Sky, coming back off a very short rest, is an interesting player for the Dutro barn. He also has some numbers that fit right there with Signature.
118th running of the Queens County. A lot of history. Race number 8, post time around 3:40 Eastern. Today's races on this New Year's Eve program brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Late pick 4 is next. Gets started in about 10 minutes. Races 6 through 9. Race 8 starts the cross-country pick 5. Oaklawn Park, all 2-year-olds all the time. 2 stakes races, the Renaissance for the boys and the Year's End for the fillies. All this got great racing. If you want to get involved, play with us at NYRA Bets. Do so. Use that promo code MATCH200. Earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now, NYRABets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. Field for the 6th at Aqueduct, stretch number 5, Safa's Day. Allowance optional, claiming sprint, $92,000 purse. Sarah Trafalgar, 2-1, the favorite with about 8 minutes to go.
Well, Linda Rice looks to extend that record-breaking win streak. She's got a couple more running today. A horse that's in great form right now that she claimed a few starts ago out of Kentucky. He's one that does like to come from the back of the pack, though. We've seen Inside Speed do very well so far today.
In terms of a potential bias, enough for you to pivot with your handicapping as good as the rail and Inside Speed has been this afternoon?
I already was leaning that way with this race not featuring a lot of pace on paper. So with that bias in mind now moving forwards, it only sort of enhances that idea.
All right, so Something to keep an eye on moving forward. And for the horses in the paddock, we welcome in Maggie Wolfendale, standing by with this Race 6 paddock report. Very happy New Year's Eve to you, Maggie.
Oh, thank you. Same to you, Lafitte. It almost feels like it's going to snow out here as the skies are great. It just has that feel. But I like snow. I'd rather it be snowing than raining when it comes to wintertime. As we'll check in with the horse coming in off of a layoff, and that's Listen to Your Heart here for Ray Handel, New York bred, who prior to going to the bench off of a poor effort had run 2 consecutive triple-digit Beyer speed figures. Katie Davis, regular rider, getting back aboard today. And he's one that I thought looked incredibly fit and ready to go the first time he ran for Ray, but that wasn't necessarily the case, though he was big prices in both of those efforts subsequently. Still question mark of who he was beating those days, because, you know, hindsight's 2020, and those horses maybe haven't gone on to be that good, and I think he does meet a potentially salty field this time around. He's nice and relaxed here in the paddock, which sometimes he can be a little bit just kind of claustrophobic. Like sometimes he doesn't want to walk into the saddling stalls. Sometimes he's a little bit funny at the gate, but that doesn't seem to be the case today. He looks about 90% fit to my eye, in that he might need to start coming in off of the bench dating back to June here, but I think he'll make a good showing of himself nonetheless. As we'll move on to one of 2 Rick Dutrow horses, the 2 Wake Surf. I think he comes in off of an inflated number race against only 2 other foes last time. So I would subtract maybe 8 to 10 points from that 98. But looking at him, at face value here in the paddock, I like what I see. A horse that, as Sarah was mentioning, lacks a little bit of pace, and his only time sprinting was last time, and no matter what the figure was, it was his best effort. And he looks like a sprinter, a dirt sprinter, in fact, and he is sharp here in the paddock. He's really well muscled behind the saddle. Lafitte, I didn't necessarily like him on paper, but here in the paddock, he's changed my mind.
Looks the part. Wake Surf 5-1 for trainer Rick Dutrow. What a year, what a comeback. Breeders' Cup Classic winning trainer Rick Dutrow with White Abario. These are older horses. We'll have older horses in the Queens County a little bit later on. Not the case today at Oaklawn Park, where the sun's out in Hot Springs. We welcome in Paul LaDuca, Richard Migliori standing by. Gentlemen, a very happy New Year's Eve to both of you, and an exciting day of racing at Oaklawn just for the 2-year-olds and potential stars of next year.
Yeah, I guess happy birthday to all the 2-year-olds here at midnight too as well. So they're going to be turning 3 here as well, and happy birthday to all the thoroughbreds around the world, and happy New Year's to you, Mig.
Thank you. Great to be here with you. We've actually beautiful day right now. I'm sure it'll get cold when the sun goes behind the grandstand, but you know, all of the thoroughbreds, like you said, turn a year older on New Year's Day. Despite when their birthday may be, a lot of people thinking earlier the fall, the better. For me, I like a March fall. They get past that first 2 months, January, February, where the weather might be a little bit inhibiting of them going out and playing, ice, snow, what have you. March falls to me are the ones I'm looking for.
Yeah, and it's like you guys were saying, it's highlighted today here at Oaklawn Park with all 2-year-olds on the race card. So you have to have your handicapping shoes on, maybe your pedigree shoes on as well. We got some Archie breds in race 4, some difficult races a little later on in the cards. You got to figure out which horses are live or not. We have the Renaissance for the boys, and then the New Year's stakes for the fillies, and that's going to be a little bit later on. Lafitte, I mean, it's going to be a really fun day because you never know if you're going to see the next kind of superstar.
The next big thing, and also it's already where you're seeing riders starting to shop for potential Triple Crown.
That's true too.
Mounts, and you see Flavian Pratt here today. I ran into him fresh off a red eye, as well as Joel Rosario. Yeah. Never too early to try to line up your marquee mounts.
And Sarah, happy New Year's Eve to you, and not the guy to the left.
Or you're right.
Whichever direction, doesn't matter. They were talking to me, not you.
Made it very clear. Very clear. 2-year-olds, can't wait to watch the program and the racing today with the 2 stakes races. Oaklawn here, time for the late pick 4 post parade. Emerald Forest, who you saw at 4-1, and then Wake Surf. And Maggie, again, didn't like him at first glance, but seeing him in the flesh changed her mind.
He's really only run on dirt a few times, and I thought that maybe dirt sprinting might end up being his thing, where he recorded that giant number last time out.
Where are they going, Sarah? What's the hurry? You saw Trafalgar as You mentioned moments ago Linda Rice padding her stats, trying to anyhow. Andiamo a Firenze. Firenze fires little brother.
He should be the one alone in front, and with the way that the track is playing, I don't think he's the best horse in the race, but I think that he has the biggest advantage.
Inside speed, something to follow. Listen to your heart and a smiling Katie Davis.
Off a little bit of a freshening. He does have 2 races to go back to that are giant. We'll see what we get off the layoff.
American Monarch, a win earlier today. Bill Mott won yesterday's Gravesend as well with Bold Journey.
Yeah, Bill Mott, we've had quite the year of that barn doing well in many respects all throughout, and now he has another one in here. Second off a little bit of a layoff and did run okay last time. Might have needed that race for some fitness.
Incredible 2023 for the Hall of Famer Bill Mott. And here with this field of 6 with about 2 minutes out and start of the late pick 4, we welcome in Jonathan Kinchin from Saratoga. Happy New Year to you, Jonathan.
Happy New Year to you as well. For those who weren't watching yesterday, you called me out for not coming down to the city to hang out with you. But then last night, the train, you never showed up here. So I see where we stand here, Lafitte. Look, I really like the 6 in here. Listen to your heart for a couple of reasons. One, and Sarah kind of touched on it. He had 2 races earlier in the year that will absolutely blitz this field. And if he can find those 2 races, then I think that he could be extremely dangerous. And a lot of times when you're looking at these races, you have to kind of have a little bit of an imagination because the obvious is right in front of you of who's the likely winners, horses like American Monarch and even a horse like Emerald Forest. But sometimes you have to try to get a little bit creative. And I think for me, if you look at the way that this horse ran, Listen to Your Heart, on April 7th, okay, that was probably Listen to Your Heart's best race. That was in off a little bit of a break since, you know, not too much of a break, but a little bit of a break since February. And I think that this is obviously a longer break, but this horse does typically run well fresh. And I'm just hoping that when we go to Maggie here in a few, that she'll confirm my feelings that Listen to Your Heart looks ready to kind of run that April 7th race rather than some of the previous races before that. So I'm on the 6, Listen to Your Heart, Mags. Tell me something good so I can fire up that Naira Betts account.
JK, I guess you didn't fire up your IFB in time for the paddock report when I said I thought Listen to Your Heart might need a start. I could be wrong, but and look, if he gets back to any of those 2 races, they're all in trouble. But let's take a look at number 1 in here, Emerald Forest, who Rick Dutrow picks up first off the claim, off the back of a win for the Cantomasis, who really got this horse going in the right direction. He is one that when he first showed up on this circuit would really get washed out and be just a nervous wreck. And that slowly subsided with each start for the Cantomasis. He really put it all together last time, and if anything, he looks just as good, if not better, coming in first off the claim. I think a horse that is really, truly regaining some of his best form, if not putting forth his best efforts. Now, I was not expecting 2-1 on American Monarch when I selected him on the earlier show, kind of committed a little bit to him now, but I thought, as Sarah mentioned, you want to be forwardly placed. He and Andiamo a Firenze project to be that, and it just looked as though he needed a race last time in which he was a part of a pace that collapsed. So now he gets to be on the outside. He looks solid, fit, and ready to go for the Hall of Famer. Lafitte?
Bill Mott, American Pharaoh, the son of the Triple Crown winner. American Pharaoh, American Monarch at 2-1. It feels like it's going to be a lively show.
I think so.
Sarah, head on a swivel.
We have a good group here, and you have a pretty even betting board that reflects that as well. A couple of horses coming in off career bests, and we'll see if they can repeat that. I like Andiamo a Firenze to go to the lead and hopefully try to wire the field.
You like saying Andiamo a Firenze.
As much as you like saying suerte yesterday.
Suerte. Did you remember what it means?
I did. Luck. We'll need some for the rest of the show.
Good. Yeah. I'll be sure to duck. Good luck to our viewers playing this late pick 4. Post-time race 6, Aqueduct, Chris Griffin standing by.
And they're off. Speed from in between horses. Andiamo a Firenze quickly out to the front for Luis Rivera Jr. is now up by a length and a half. Here comes American Monarch and Listen to Your Heart. They join that second grouping with At the Rail Emerald Forest as they battle for that second position. Second to last is Wake Surf. And the trailer, Trafalgar, who is off a step slow, is 4 lengths to the trailer. They're chasing Andiamo a Firenze with 4 furlongs left to travel. Takes them into the far turn. 22-3 for that opening quarter mile is still alone up front. Here's Listen to Your Heart, comfortable enough in second, and is followed by American Monarch. Following them is Wake Surf. Now about to be 4 wide as they're approaching the quarter pole. Under a full drive is Emerald Forest, and still the trailer, Trafalgar. They're approaching the quarter pole. It's Andiamo a Firenze, still the target, well off the rail. Andiamo a Firenze says go, and in between horses, Listen to Your Heart, American Monarch is in full pursuit down the center of the racetrack, but Andiamo a Firenze has not stopped yet. American Monarch is ready to be shoulder to shoulder here with this rival. Down at the rail, Emerald Forest has got a late rally as well. A 16th to go. American Monarch has taken the lead. Andiamo a Firenze, Emerald Forest late. American Monarch, Lescano and Mott back to back. It's American Monarch who gets the victory. Emerald Forest is in a photo there with Andiamo a Firenze, and Listen to Your Heart in 1 minute 9 and 4.
Evenly matched race, exciting finish, and American Monarch able to wear down the stubborn Andiamo a Firenze in the 6th at Aqueduct to kick off the late pick 4.
I got everything I could have possibly asked for out of Andiamo a Firenze. Jose Gomez was all over him to get him out to the front and clear of this field. He had enough left, even though he was starting to drift all over the place in the stretch. Nobody making up significant ground until the later stages of this race. And right here, he kind of turns his head a little bit towards the photo is outside, and I thought of his brother, Firenze Fire.
Just to learn how to savage and bite horses when they try to pass you like Big Brother.
It's in the family.
He thought about it.
He looked.
He
took a peek over.
Andiamo a Firenze with the Michael Jordan
See, look at
tongue
right
wag
there.
right there. Maggie liked what she saw with American Monarch. Didn't love the price, but pegged the winner 2-1 at post time. The favorite 7-4-1-6, as you heard Chris Griffin reference. Jose Lescano, Bill Mott back to back on the New Year's Eve program at Aqueduct. And when we come back, last season's leading rider at Oaklawn Park, Christian Torres, he dominated. And now, a title to defend, rides Contender in the upcoming 4th race. First-time starter, Lenny May. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
$140,000. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1. As you can see right there inside the stall padding where it says Claiborne Farm. Coverage is always brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. All freshmen today, all 2-year-olds and Arkansas bred 2-year-olds are next. 6 furlong sprint, 2-year-old fillies, $115,000 purse. That's next at Oaklawn. Paul and Richie standing by, guys. Big field, limited experience. Like this one feels like it has chaos written all over it.
Every Arkansas bred race so far this meet, Lafitte, has been chaos. And yeah, when you look at this race, I consider it as these horses are main special weights. They can't enter the transfer portal. They can't go anywhere else after this race.
Well, no, listen, and they run for $115,000 part, restricted to Arkansas breds. You know, we've got a horse with some proven form here in the 8th. Synthetic?
I'm not saying it. You can go ahead and say it.
You guys, maybe I'll listen to Matt Dinneman.
I'm not ending the year with a bad broadcast.
Yeah, well, it's too late for me already. I'll wait and listen to Matt Dinneman. Obviously, this horse ran extremely well at Lone Star. Now comes here against Arkansas breds. There are a couple of first-time starters I thought were interesting, particularly the 7, no coincidence. The mares had 2 foals. They're both winners, including Mesta Park, who was a debut winner. I will say, though, watching this horse head out, and you know I think Ron Moquet's a tremendous horseman. I think this horse will be better for a race under his belt, Paul.
Yeah, you know, we've seen in these Arkansas bred races, you're right, that you have to have some kind of recency or at least a race. And the 8, you know, the 8's 8-5 for a reason. She ran really well first time out at Lone Star under the Danny Pish's care. Now she's with Brett Creighton, who's very, very good conditioner. Isaac Castillo's aboard, who had a winner yesterday. You're not getting that 24-1. You're getting 8-5. You see the 5 go through Willie De La Cruz and Melton Wilson. The 6 for Johnny Court. You got to talk to Johnny Court a little bit. What was that discussion about?
Just where he found the fountain of youth. I mean, I rode with John for many years. I retired 14 years ago. He's still going strong in his 60s. God bless him, the ageless wonder. How about the 11 horse first-time starter taking a ton of money here at 2-1 right now?
Yeah, you know, Ernie Witts had a couple horses. He had a first-time starter the other day that really ran well, ran a good third against some horses that had to run. So I would think Lenny May getting bet into this 8-horse with Christian Torres. And you kind of go back, she's, you know, had bullet drills at Louisiana Downs. She came here to Oaklawn Park. She has a bullet drill, and then you're seeing the 10 go on the screen. You're going to see her next here, Lenny May. Ernie owns part of this horse, too, affiliate by Mark Valesky. I mean, like you always say, the hard work has been done. But, you know, it looks like she's pretty fast in the morning. See, she's going to be fast in the afternoon.
Well, you know, I love a certain pattern with workouts, particularly with first-time starters. Like you say, the heavy lifting. I want to see good sharp works followed up with maintenance moves, right? You're kind of tearing down to build back up, much like you would as, you know, a person working out in the gym. You're going to work harder. You'll be tired, sore, but then you know, kind of come back with a lighter workout and refresh yourself. Kind of that same pattern with the 7, who is actually taking more and more money now, down to 7-2 for Ron Moquet. How about that minute and change work 2 back, and then a nice, easy 51? I like that kind of pattern.
Yeah, you know, when you look at the board, the 3, that filly's kind of staying square on the board. The 9 is taking a little money. Randy Morse did win race number 2 today. He's having a good meet so far. He almost caused an upset, too, in the stakes race yesterday. So his horses are running right now. That's the other filly by More Spirit. But of those first-time starters, the 11 clearly taking most of the money. And I'm surprised, to be honest with you, that this filly is favored. I thought the 8, just because of the experience, would get the edge over the 7 and 11, but I think this is strong money here on the 11.
I think it's significant. It shows that these horses have tipped their hand in their morning trials. I will say this, and it's a credit to all the horsemen and women sending these horses out. Every single one of these 2-year-olds, whether they had experience or not, came out to the track, hooked up with their lead horse, and were very good about it, very well schooled. That's a sign of good horsemanship.
Well, hopefully you're alive in your early pick 5. It's been a little bit formful so far, Lafitte, but like you said, these Arkansas bred races can go sideways quickly. I do think the 8, you know, when a filly runs so well first time out in a 12-horse field, I think that's significant. I do think the 8, Mig.
Got experience. I'm going to take a little bit of a stab with the 7 the first timer for Ron Moquet. Like the work pattern. And with the caveat, I do think this horse will improve with the race.
8-7, 78 here. The public on the first-time starter of the 11.
Much more on Ron Moquet, guys, in the broadcast a little bit later on. Pauly going with Stenek, number 8, who was the 8-5 morning line favorite. Second at 23-1, Sarah, in her July debut. So it's been a while for her. The filly that beat her hasn't won in 5 races since, and perhaps for that reason, the overlay. Second choice at 5-2 at a far cry from the 8-5 morning line billing.
Well, the winner of that race did actually return to win, but she's never come close to replicating that number that she ran on debut in 5 starts since then. Nothing close to that 66. But I will say that the third place finisher did return to win and improved a little bit, and then ran a 77, went second in a stakes at Remington. The race has also produced 3 other winners, so perhaps kind of a mixed bag. But we've talked about the chaos that exists in these Arkansas-bred maiden races, and so it seems like the 3 logical horses are the shortest prices. However, that's not usually what we see play out at Oaklawn.
If that trend does continue, a filly that you gave a shot, Can't Run, number 9. I don't like how much it sounds like Can't Run. What drew you to her?
Not the name, apparently. Just looking for a little bit of an interesting price. The works are only okay, but I will say the Randy Morris barn does okay with their 2-year-old first-time starters. He does have a positive ROI of $2.16 over the past 5 years doing so.
Can't He Run? These 2-year-old fillies of the Arkansas-bred variety, $115,000 purse. Final check of the tote board reading 2-1. Lenny May, last season's leading pilot. Christian Torres in the saddle. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Race 4 live from Oaklawn.
Principal Anita, Breakfast are on the next pair. Mo Hopeful coming up. Lenny May, Texas Sequoia, and Cosmic Chic, the last pair. Texas Sequoia in, waiting on Cosmic Chic. Cosmic Chic is it. We're ready to go. And they're off. Tardy break from Lady Whoop Pig, who drops to the back. Mo Hopeful gets the first call on the lead. Strides in front narrowly. No coincidences. The first-time starter pressing. Lenny May 3 deep on the course. Cosmic Chic is next with the favorite Synthetic. And Exo Little Darling down on the inside of that pair. She's running about 4 or 5 lengths behind. A space of 5 to Canty Run and Breakfast Run. They're together, and they're 5 clear of a trio. Texas Sequoia, Principal Anita, Sunny at 70. Lady Whoop Pig detached well out of it as they round the far turn, and Mo Hopeful already dropping out of it. No coincidences in front. Here's Lenny May and Christian Torres right there to hound, and those two square off approaching the quarter pole. They're 3 ahead of Stenek. Isaac Castillo all over her to get going. She's got to roll. 3 behind and needs to pick it up. Cosmic Chic next. The others well behind. It's a match race on the lead between No Coincidences and Rafael Bejarano. Outside Lenny May and Christian Torres. Synthetic still in with a shot. She's finding her best stride, and here comes Stenek. Stenek on the outside. No coincidences. Trying to nurse that lead. She's narrowly ahead. Stenek getting by in the final stages, and Stenek gets it done. She had to work for it, but Stenek won it. No Coincidences was second. Lenny May third. Photo finish for the 4th spot.
Well, Synthetic, I guess, is the name of the 8-horse. Grid call there by Matt Dinnerman. And Mig, we got this one, 8-7, 7-8. Good call by you. The 7 ran a giant race, but we were talking about this, just that experience and having a race under the belt. The 8 was really, really persistent, and Isaac Castillo stayed on her through the stretch.
I've been so impressed with Isaac Castillo, getting to watch him ride in New York, and he's shipping back and forth to Oaklawn and Aqueduct, and he just produces consistently hard rides. Stenek looked like this horse was spinning her wheels around the far turn, and he just kept on picking her up, asking her, helping her along. She found her best stride, was able to run down No Coincidences, who ran very game. Was a terrific race. But hey, we start off the day with a America's Day at the Races exacta.
Yeah, not bad. We'll take it. Keen Thoroughbreds here gets it done. A filly by Texas Chrome, one of my favorite sires of all time. Texas Chrome is out of Grasshopper Lafitte.
Grasshopper, who missed winning a Travers by a flared nostril years ago. So much for the chaos. The Richie Pauly exacta, No Coincidence. Aesthetic, the winner, graduates in her second career start here at Aqueduct. An exciting finish. In the end, just too much American Monarch, Maggie's top selection. Speaking of exactas, and Andiamo a Firenze, Sarah, who you like going in?
And did either of us use the promo today through NyraBet? 0% takeout on exactas?
There you go.
We should have, so there we go.
I think that's my job, and I think I failed miserably.
It's probably not in your notes. It's okay. I just think it's so funny how right here you kind of see his head turn, maybe looking at his rival towards the outside, very reminiscent of his brother Firenze Fire, who of course is famous for the savaging of Yaupon. But American Monarch, second off the bench, ran much better today than he did last time out and got the job done as what ended up being your favorite.
To kick off the late pick 4, American Monarch. Bill Mott having a very solid New Year's Eve here at Aqueduct. Back-to-back victories, but not as good of an afternoon as trainer Linda Rice, who earlier today set the record for most wins in 1 year in New York. Victory number 165. Maggie with Linda Rice just moments ago.
Texas Sequoia.
A record setter, Linda Rice, with 165 wins accomplished earlier on the card, Linda, with George's Vice. But as I talked to you yesterday, it's such an accomplishment what you and your team have been able to do, because let's face it, you have to win all kinds of races, and you're such a shrewd trainer when it comes to the claim box.
Well, it's when I look at that number, that's a pretty high bar. So I don't know where we go from there, but we won a lot of claiming races, a lot of allowance races, a lot of maiden races. We won some stakes with horses that we claimed. We won some stakes with homebreds of Barry Schwartz, of Chester Bromans, and so it all has to come together. And it's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of great victories and tough defeats, and it's a big team effort. I'm very proud of my team, and it's been a wonderful year.
And Linda, as you had mentioned, you've always been focused on New York, and to do it in such a contentious and competitive circuit as we have here, it speaks volumes to the accomplishment.
Oh yeah, in 2017 I won 166 races. That was my top at that time, but 30 of them were at Maryland, and with horses I didn't think could win here. This year, it was all right here at home. I think I won 2 races out of town all year. So to have that many wins at NyraBet tracks, I mean, for me, it's a big accomplishment. There's a lot of tough trainers here in New York, one right after another, and they take no prisoners. That's a tough place to win.
Well, Linda, again, congratulations. It certainly has been a year for the women, and you lead the game.
Thank you, Maggie.
Linda Rice with 165 wins. Still a few more races to go, too, Lafitte.
Let's see if she can pad those stats in doing so in dramatic fashion. Coming down to the last day of the year, we saw some of that this summer at Saratoga. She needed multiple wins to catch Chad Brown as they split the training title. Her second at Saratoga. Linda Rice, the only female trainer to capture a Saratoga training title. And to do this here, considering all the great legendary trainers that have called the New York Racing Association home.
And before the last race, rather than the dramatic fashion of Saratoga. And as Maggie mentioned, she still has a couple more chances coming up. She has 2 running in the last race, so even more potential to pad those statistics. But another example of a woman crushing ceilings in racing this year. We've seen a lot of it, and incredible to have Linda now be the record holder for the most wins at NyraBet.
Not so much drama involving the chase for a riding title here at Aqueduct for the fall meet. Manny Franco, that was decided weeks ago. When you have days like that, when you win 6 on one afternoon, and he's not done yet. Some live mounts the remainder of the afternoon. Manny Franco, the 2023 fall champion rider at Aqueduct. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1.
Liam's Map, a 2-time Grade 1 winner with 6 consecutive triple-digit buyers, including a 114 to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He's already taking the lead as a sire, with Grade 1 winners Basin, Wicked Whisper, Colonel Liam, and Juju's Map, plus multiple 6-figure yearling sales and 2-year-old sales up to $1.2 million. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Liam's Map, only at Lane's End.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NyraBet. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions. thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Thanks for spending part of your New Year's Eve with us. Welcome back. America's Day at the races on Fox Sports 1 is always brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Race 7, Aqueduct, cross-country pick 5 gets started in the 8th. Horses have arrived. Riders have arrived. Just a $14,000 claiming event here, Sarah. 1 mile, the field with updated odds, and Cafre, number 7, the even money favorite.
A horse that was coming off a little bit of a layoff last time and now goes first off the claim for the Ray Handel barn. And he had every right to tire a little bit coming out of that race that was won by Tommy Gunn. And you see some big workouts since then, including a bullet 4-furlong drill, best of 207 on Christmas Eve. So you have to imagine that he's feeling fit and ready to fire.
How do you, as a handicapper, how much does that factor into your handicapping when you look down at the form and you see that bullet drill? And this horse is training, breezing, practicing, and doing so very quickly.
I think you have to consider, I know Richard Migliore likes to talk a lot about what the workout looked like, how much they were asked for, rather than the actual time of the effort, and I think that that's all extremely important. But what I look at just at first glance is how many other workers at that distance there were this morning, and if you're working best of more than 200 horses, you're pretty quick.
That's fast. A lot of it has to do with intent, and as Richie says, not how fast they're going, how they're going fast. Are they doing it easily?
Precisely. And so you have to imagine that if you're getting that kind of result from a horse that has been able to show some speed in the past, especially for one at this level to do so, he just makes some sense coming in here, and he's being reflected that way in terms of price. But you also have to wonder, is he going to get back to some of those races he used to run in the past for Starter Allowance Company? And so he's a big if.
$14,000 claimers post-parade, Cheeky Tico, 18 races, all at Belmont or Aqueduct.
He exits a race where runners from there have come back to improve. Blue Grotto, the winner of that race.
Wind Giant has done his best work at Finger Lakes.
The other half of the entry, perhaps the less fancied one as he comes in from out of town.
Salute to America, lackluster performance in his return.
True, though they did opt to run him for the Wavier, so perhaps he needed one coming off the layoff.
Number 3, Hometown Hero. He's been busy. 19th start this year.
And a lot of them on turf as of late as he comes in for the Chris Engelhart barn and drops a little bit in class.
Norgay, number 4, kind of trending in the wrong direction.
Another one that was off a little bit of a layoff and does exit that same race won by Blue Grotto.
5, Ski Patrol, second at this level, 2 starts back.
He was, and then just facing tougher company over a sloppy sealed surface last time out. This is likely where he wants to be.
Number 6, Mineola Mike, New York debut.
A horse that we have not seen any of on this circuit as he comes in from over at Charlestown.
The favorite, aforementioned Cafre, claimed from Phil Antonacci by Ray Handel.
He doesn't have the best first off the claim numbers, but certainly is capable of getting them to perform first time in his barn.
Number 8, Mach 1, like that name sets the bar pretty high for a racehorse.
It does. He's not playing today, unfortunately.
Oh, he's not playing today. He's out. That's why we went to Strong Light. Give me a heads up next time, Sarah, would you? Strong Light, 5 to 1.
I was told not to correct you anymore.
Yeah, that was in the break. Midnight Cat, the Parks Invader.
He's also out as well.
He's out as well.
I'll give you the scratches after this.
I appreciate it. It would be helpful at this point. Amani's Eagle towards the outside is running at 6-1. Leading rider Manny Franco, second at the level December 1st.
I like him a bit. I know he's not the most consistent, reliable type and not necessarily a winning type, but he did finish best out of that common race.
That's the field. Seventh race, post time 2 minutes with Cafre, heavy favorite at 6-5. JK, Cafre, trustworthy? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of money here, coming on this horse. I think that, the morning line here in New York is one of the best in the country. Remember, the morning line is just a prediction of what what one individual thinks the public's going to do. But the fact this horse is taking money off that 10-1 does suggest that there is some sort of a story behind Cafre and how he's supposed to run. But for me, it's the 5 Ski Patrol. I think that this horse has, from at least from a figure standpoint, he ran a number very similar to what he was running with Linda Rice and even with Jonathan Thomas on the turf. And I just think that Ski Patrol just feels like the right one in here. I also think that his style kind of works out well as well, right? The horse is going to kind of come from off of it with a little bit of pace signed on in here. So it's the 5 Ski Patrol for me.
JK, number 5, Ski Patrol, looking at him. Now, he spent most of his career, as you just mentioned, on the turf, and mainly at a mile. And I find that turf mile races can often be more run like dirt sprint races because they'll feature, a lot of times, a hotter pace out in front of you to close into. I'm a little worried about him getting a mile today, based upon that, / based upon his physical makeup, in that he is very stout, very compact, very much of that sprinter frame. And furthermore, I think his better efforts have come on sealed tracks when it comes to being on the dirt, and those can often mimic turf courses. Now, there's no doubt about it. There's 2 horses that look best in this field by a mile, and he's one of them. I'm going to land on Cafre, though, which I was not expecting, the 8-5. Yes, it's not our normal morning lines odds maker, and so they're a little bit skewed, but still I wasn't expecting 8-5 on him. I just thought that Ray Handel might be able to get him back to some of his better efforts, and he just ran like a horse that needed the start. I'm okay with the mile with him. He looks incredibly fit here for Ray. His coat's gone in the right direction since being claimed, so I'm landing on him, though, again, for the 2nd race in a row. Surprised by the price and not loving it, but again, I will stick to my guns. It's a generous price on the 11 in here. Amani's Eagle, who he and Ski Patrol look the best by a mile, like I mentioned. And at least, as Sarah said, he's not the most trustworthy type, but at least his last 2 efforts have been good. He's just not, he lacks that killer instinct, to say the least. And I don't like picking my husband's horses because from my vantage point, his horses always look good. And as his former employer, Eddie Keneally, always told him, you're not always going to have the fastest horse, but you better make sure you have the best looking horse. And that's what Amani's Eagle is. Again, Lafitte, doesn't make him a winner.
Looks the part, all the same. Best of luck, Maggie. Amani's Eagle to the outside with leading rider Manny Franco at 4-1, and perhaps getting a better price than anticipated, considering like all the money pouring in on Cafre, down from 10-1 on the morning line, and your 8-5 favorite.
And Maggie brings up a great point. We don't have our usual morning line makers, so perhaps that leads into why you're seeing a big price differential. But Amani's Eagle, he's the one that exits that race. That Blue Grotto won, and he finished best of others that have come out of there. We've seen several come back and improve.
Post time for the 7th, live from Aqueduct. Chris Griffin standing by.
And they're off. Step slow for Hometown Hero, the early trailer. In between horses there, Mineola Mike has got early speed. Cafre is up alongside here on Amani's Eagles, trying to join them out in the pink silks. Very wide, though, 6 wide as they hook up with the backstretch here. Down towards the inside, Salute to America is progressing with Chiqui Tico. Then behind them, that's going to be Ski Patrol. Ski Patrol right in leading 5. Just outside of them is going to be Wind Giant. They're going to be mid-pack here with Norgay. Further back, Hometown Hero and the trailer. Late running, Strong Light. 23 seconds flat For the opening quarter mile and down towards the inside, Miniola Mike has got the lead. Miniola Mike, a tight hold here on Cafres, right up alongside, within a neck of the leader. And now Amani's Eagle starts to move closer here for Manny Franco. Is 3 wide here as they approach a half mile left to go. Down to the inside, Salute to America. Chiquitico is in between horses. Ski Patrol is right there. That's the leading 6. Just behind them is Norgay, who's in gear from 7th. Under a full drive is Wind Giant in 8th. From the back, Hometown Hero, and the trailer is Strong Light. 46 and 3 for that half-mile time. Miniola Mike has been passed by Cafre, who's taken the lead. It's Cafre who's the new leader, but Amani's Eagle trying to pounce right now. Cafre is still in hand and now kicks for home. It's Cafre who's put a length on Amani's Eagle, who's a very game second. Ski Patrol down the center of the racetrack, but Cafre is now widening this margin, approaching that final 1/8 of a mile. It is now Ski Patrol up alongside Amani's Eagle, but Cafre just keeps on going. Cafre is approaching the 16th pole still with that 3-4 length cushion. It's all Cafre. Dylan Davis, they win easily. Ski Patrol there second. Late run here, Chiquitico and Amani's Eagle in 1 minute 36.48 seconds.
Another winner, sired by Triple Crown winner American Pharaoh, strikes at Aqueduct. Cafre, the favorite. Dylan Davis does so, handling this field with ease.
Very easily, and set a great trip just outside of that main pace presence, shipping in from Charlestown. Was able to seize the opportunity without too much dispute from anyone else and pulled away pretty convincingly.
First after the claim, Ray Handel. Maggie wanted a better price, had the right horse. Cafre here, and a solid bid here from Ski Patrol, but nobody really making up any ground in the stretch, and Cafre having established that cushion and strolling home by about 3+.
Yeah, he was very comfortable once he got to the lead in here, and as you mentioned, Chiquitico perhaps with some late interest, but this was a race that was dominated forward and kind of stayed that way.
7-5-1-11. Cafre, 3rd lifetime win, 2nd at the Big A. Results when we come back. Plus, oh, that colt. So impressive opening day. Valentine Candy, the Advent winner at Oaklawn, 8-5 favorite in the Renaissance later today in Hot Springs.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into 2nd. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Thoroughbred racing is taking vital steps to make our sports safer. These include the use of independent veterinarians, strict anti-doping and medication controls, and a single national authority empowered to create uniform standards and enforce reforms. With each step, more data is gathered, accountability demanded, and progress made as safety takes the lead. Visit ntra.com/safety for more.
Live look at Oaklawn Park, where the 2-year-olds have left the paddock. This is America's Day at the Races. Live coverage on Fox Sports 1. The racing today at Oaklawn, it's all 2-year-olds. It'll turn 3 at the stroke of midnight. This is only the second time they've ever had this type of program at Oaklawn Park. Big fields, a lot of fresh faces, first-time starters. And Imperial Gun here, he has raced. This will be his second career start, number 2, the favorite at 2-1 on site. Richie Migliori, Paul LaDuca. You guys have another exacta for us here?
Well, listen, you know, the last couple of days, Lafitte's been tough sledding. They've had some big bombs going along, so we're just going to go race by race. We're very, very happy that we had 7-8 and 8-7 there. Small baby steps.
Yeah, especially some of the chaos that ensued over the last few days. It's really interesting, though, these young horses stretching out now. And we were looking at the 3, Paul, linebacker, from a physical perspective. I mean, you know, his name is linebacker. I'm seeing more Jim Kick than Larry Zonka.
Yeah, he looks kind of like a wide receiver. He's really a long son of Bolt Dioro. See the horses turn. There's the one here, Mohawk River. Lindsay Schultz, insane numbers on the stretch out, 41%. My only worry with the one, she's only had him for a couple works.
Yeah, a couple of works, but this is third start, so there is foundation there and a good post, inside post. You know, there's not a tremendous amount of run to the first turn. And one thing we've seen consistently from the jockey colony, Oaklawn Park, these guys get their position going forward. They are not afraid to allow horses to flaunt speed.
No, that is true. You saw linebacker go through the big long shots in the 4 and the 5. You know, the 6 is taking a little bit of money here, box office. Is this Brad Cox money, or, you know, was kind of chilly actually, 7-1, has now gone down to 9-2.
You know, watching this horse's first race, this horse ran evenly. It was 7 furlongs, so obviously they were probably thinking the way this horse trained was going to need more ground. So now you've got that stamina building effort going 7 furlongs, that even effort. Now you stretch the 2 turns. I thought the 2 turns would benefit this horse.
Yeah, you know, the 8 and the 9 to me are very similar. You're going to see them go through, seeing Tell 'em coming a colt by Upstart, and then JJ's Ranger. JJ's Ranger actually probably bred a little bit more for the turf, but an Oscar performance, but that horse ran pretty well first time out.
Horse ran well. You get Chris Landeros for Chris Hartman. They've turned out to be a formidable combination here. They won the first race today with a big swooping run from well back. And when Chris Landeros' confidence level's high, he's as good a rider as there is.
And if you notice the one horse, this horse, we'll take it, that just went through for Eddie Milligan Jr. He's had a couple starters so far. This horse has been working forwardly. 30-1 on the morning line, is one of the first-time starters in here that is taking money. When we get back to the inside runners, those were the runners that Mig and I were kind of interested in, the 1, 2, and the 3 in here. Now, Mohawk River, we talked about Lindsay Schultz's, you know, really good stats going sprint throughout, 41%. Is this horse going to get to the front end, you think? But like you said, a lot of guys like to send here.
Yeah, but I think you got to try to protect inside position, particularly with a horse that's coming out of 2 sprints. I know that that was one of my kind of basics of riding. When I had inside position and a modicum of speed, I was going to hold my ground. I was going to try to protect that position. Imperial Gun has the race under his belt. You get Joel Rosario. We were watching Joel as we warmed up. He gave us a big hello. Is anybody more laid back than Joel Rosario?
He is not. He's like, he blew us kisses. He's smiling at us. He's having a good old time here at Oaklawn, just like us. As you see the prices from the last race, the second choice got the job done over No Coincidences. We're going to race number 5. I'm going to stick with linebacker here, Lafitte. Mig?
I'm going to give the 2 a try here. Imperial Gun by Gun Runner, who's just been an incredible sire. Just really every horse that comes out of Gun Runner is running. And you get Rosario for Asmussen, and that kiss he blew us. That sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, see that, Lafitte? All that nonsense we just splurted out of our mouth, and we just gave you the 2 favorites.
Whatever it takes, whatever works. You were touching on pedigree. Gun Runner, the sire of Imperial Gun, who's at 3-1. Speaking of bloodline, Sarah, a long shot, number 11, will take it in his debut.
And not taking much money at the moment, but a horse that costs $700,000 as a yearling by Tappet, out of Lady Take Charge, the Grand Dame, of course, the magnificent Take Charge Lady. And the works aren't super flashy, and perhaps one that maybe you want next time, but at this price, with this pedigree and purchase price, I think that's a long shot worth using.
Mom and dad rock stars, grandma a rock star, expensive, last season's leading rider, Christian Torres, all adds up to a 20-1 shot. in his debut. Number 11 will take it. Final thoughts. Which freshman did you wind up with?
I think that the number 1 is actually really interesting. Mohawk River not taking a ton of money either. They touched on it. Lindsay Schultz has some pretty monster stats, stretching horses out on the dirt from sprints to routes. 10 in the money finishes from 14 to try it. 6 wins, 43%, $10.32 ROI.
Yeah, we have the inside horses covered. Sarah with Mohawk River, Richie with number 2 Imperial Gun, Paul number 3 Linebacker, the favorite at 7-5. Matt Dinneman with the call. 2-year-olds, race 5, Oaklawn.
Starter will take it. Still waiting on Will Take It. Will Take It goes it. Daily Grind to the outside. A shout out to all our TV partners tuning in. 12 in line, we're ready to go, and they're off. And a good beginning from Mohawk River from the inside. Gets the first call and strides to the front. There's a wall of runners right behind. Famous Final Scene takes second with top of the street. Daily Grind parked 4 deep, but right there in that line as they charge into the turn, Mohawk River, Famous Final Scene. Those two now even. They get acquainted on the lead with top of the street third. Imperial Gun right inside of him. Daily Grind shuffled back to run in midfield with the firster. Will Take It. Box office there. Gotta Have Dreams inside a little bit keen. Passing a few runners to be 5th approaching the backstretch run. Another length and a half to Linebacker racing alongside Gold Search. Tell Him I'm Coming has 1 runner beat. That's JJ's Ranger down the backstretch. 10 lengths from first to last, and Joel Rosario finds a seam on the rail and lets Imperial Gun stride to the front. From 3rd to 1st, Imperial Gun going nice and easy now, clears off a length and a half. Gotta Have Dreams follows that rival, was 6th early, is now on the heels of that leader into the 4-turn run, now losing the 2nd spot once again to Famous Final Scene. And 4th, Mohawk River. Tell Him I'm Coming has lost position. Then comes Box Office. Linebacker behind a wall of horses has run. Rafael Bejarano looking for a spot to go with Linebacker. Will Take It in the meantime, is kept out of harm's way. On the outside is moving. Coming to the top of the lane. Back up top. Imperial Gun still does it smartly on the lead. Daily Grind 2nd, but is being put away by Imperial Gun, who swings off the corner and opens up. Imperial Gun by 3 now, approaching the furlong pole. 4, maybe even 5 with a furlong left. Linebacker on the outside coming with his best run late, but Imperial Gun is all alone, and Imperial Gun, the son of Gun Runner, looking strong in lifetime start number 2. Imperial Gun, he robs and was ready to roll. Linebacker's 2nd, Box Office Dale's Gotta Have Dreams for the Shodo.
Well, do you have any harder races today, Richard Migliori? Imperial Gun, good job here by Joel Rosario. Everybody, again, we saw this yesterday. Everybody was kind of getting off the rail. Joel was back in New York, didn't realize everybody was getting off the rail, and said, you know what? I'll take that spot.
Decisive move down the backstretch. The first fraction, the first quarter was a little bit quick. Things moderated. He had a handful of horse. Hole presented itself on the inside. He was decisive. Imperial Gun took the lead. Looked like he lost his focus a little bit around the far turn, being in front. You know, last time he was far back in traffic, and he drew off nicely when Joel was able to set him down. Linebacker had a difficult trip, but ran on well to be, I think, 2nd best regardless here.
Yeah, he was never going to win the race. He had a lot of trouble, but he is such a big horse. I think he's the kind of horse that, you know, he didn't love being inside. He didn't break well. A lot of things went wrong for him, but he was never beating the 2. I think the 6 got up here, so the public dead on this race. With the 2 as your 2nd choice, gets you up here. But 2, 3, 6, and the 4 spices it up a little bit. Gotta Have Dreams for Aaron Shorter for your superfecta. But no doubt about the winner. Good call here by the MIG, and you're going to get a $10 winner, Lafitte. Imperial Gun, Steve Aston might have a big day upon him. Son of Gunrunner gets the job done.
They'll team up, Paulie, with Valentine Candy a little bit later on in the Renaissance. Rosario, Asmussen, another exacta from the guys on site at Oaklawn Park. We'll have those results shortly here at Aqueduct. horses have arrived in the paddock right on cue for race number 8. The cross-country Pick 5 starts here. Maggie, what is this field showing you as we get set for the New Year's Eve feature, Queens County Stakes?
Yeah, the 118th running, and a good one at that, although, Lafitte, a short price as of now on Signator, the $1.7 million purchase, who's looking for his 3rd win in a row and his first stakes victory, shipping back up here to New York for Shug McGahee from his Florida home at Payson Park. But taking a look at some other horses that are more generous prices, one of which coming in off of the 3-day rest, and that is number 6, Kinetic Sky, in here for Rick Dutrow, who, historically speaking, I remember that summer up in Saratoga when he won the Albany with Willie Beeman and brought him right back and won the, well, King's Bishop, which is now the H. Allen Jerkins. So he can do it. But the problem with this horse as an individual is that he tried to do it earlier in the fall, coming in off of a 6-day turnaround. It did not go well, and I thought he looked exceptionally well in the paddock and healthy and all things that you wanted to see with a horse coming in off short rest, and he didn't necessarily perform when he was going from the 6.5 to the mile, and now he's going to go from the mile to the 2-turn, 1 1/8, which I think is a distance that's a little bit out of his wheelhouse. Like I said, I can't fault him here in the paddock, but there's some intangibles that I don't necessarily love about this horse. But will I be surprised when he jumps up and gets the win? Absolutely not. Now, a horse that I wasn't expecting to like, that jury's out on what he really wants to do, is number 3, Lost Ark. But he looks sensational here for Todd Pletcher, where Todd's other horse, right as of now in the wagering Croupi, is taking the balk of the play between the two runners here, as he's coming in off of a win in the Discovery against fellow 3-year-olds. But Lost Ark, he did win the Off the Turf Jockey Club Derby Invitational and a suspect field, obviously more turf-meant runners. But again, he looks really good in that he's stronger. His coat is resplendent for a horse that has been up here training throughout the bulk of this fall and winter. So Lafitte, not one that I'm in love with on paper, but just looks as though he's doing well heading into this Queens County.
Lost Ark, Maggie likes what she sees. 10-1 for Todd Pletcher, and staring right through your soul, Sarah, is Signator. There he is, coming in hot, rattled off 2 straight, and now the favorite in the Queens County Stakes, 118th running. That's next from the Big A on Fox Sports 1.
Catching Society.
Cybernite has won the Haskell over Tama and Ghana in the forego.
Echo Zulu wins the Nature Breeders' Cup Series. Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
1964, World's Fair, iconic in Queens County. Queens County, the New Year's Eve feature coming up next year at Aqueduct. Great to have you with us on America's Day at the races on Fox Sports 1. Jockeys have arrived. Signator, wow, 3-2, Sarah. The heavy favorite, looking for a third straight victory.
Getting a lot of respect in the wagering, and this is his last race where he was able to get the job done. Going the mile in an 8th distance, his career best 94 Beyer speed figure, now making his stakes debut, and he kind of always thought that there had to be some talent and ability, at least someone did, to pay $1.7 million for this one at one time.
Expensive, and now finding his best. As Shug McGahee had mentioned, he told the Daily Racing Form, that's the performance we were looking for. He's here today because of the track and the distance. There was a thought that he would stay in Florida for the Harlan's holiday, but he thought he would be most effective here on this track, this distance, and it all adds up to an 8-5 favorite. We'll see him again in the post parade. A constitutional lawyer drawn inside 9-2. More on him in a moment. Forewarned, the $86 2021 Queens County winner.
And a horse that's in okay form right now, finished second to King Kumbale, but likes to come from the back of the pack.
Lost Arc, Maggie liked what she saw.
They have to nest, so plenty of pedigree. He's a little bit tricky to figure out.
Croupy, Discovery. Winner is 1-3 of 4, followed by Signator, 3-time winner at Aqueduct, stakes debut.
Your big favorite, and deservingly so, if he can repeat or even improve on that last performance.
Didn't we just see him Kinetic Sky?
We did, the other day.
3 days ago. The quick turnaround, Rick Dutrow, as Maggie mentioned, has done this before. King Kumbale, Pennsylvania bred, Dickie Small winner.
Coming in from out of town, and we've seen Butch Reed have a lot of success with his recent shippers.
And finally, Quality Chic. He's 1-3 of 4 on dirt.
He's stepping up a little bit, but he's been in decent form as of late. Another one that does like to rally from off the pace.
Field for the New Year's Eve featured event here at Aqueduct. 118th running, a lot of history. This Queens County Stakes getting the starting gate in place, mile and an eighth. $150,000 purse, and watching that race back, that win from Signator, something else that happened early. He was wide throughout and lost so much ground and still handled that field with such ease. It made no difference in the end.
It didn't, and you have to wonder a little bit if he's going to be compromised with how the racetrack has been playing today. We've seen horses able to make up some ground, but none that were positioned so far back, and I think that someone will have to be wise to where he's positioned early, and Javier Castellano, of course, very aware of track biases and able to adapt. So he might change things up a little bit with where he sits. Might want to be a little bit closer today.
6-5 Signator. While you're looking at Kinetic Sky and the quick turnaround, JK, and what about Croupy, number 4 here, 1 of 2 for Todd Pletcher?
Yeah, look, I mean, Todd long on the dirt is always something that that I think deserves some attention. And Croupy is one of those horses where, you know, he'd always kind of shown a little bit of talent early in his career, and then when he finally got to go a mile and a 16th in 9 furlongs as a 3-year-old, it seems like he's really grown up a little bit and really figured it out. And this is towards the end of his 3-year-old year. Actually, this is the last day of his 3-year-old year. Tomorrow he'll be 4. And I think when you allow these 3-year-olds who find themselves on the Triple Crown trail to kind of stick around and to grow up a little bit, they can make some pretty significant leaps. By no means am I comparing Croupy to Gunrunner or Frosted, but just using those horses as examples of horses that were pretty darn good when they were 3, but they turned out to be great horses when they were 4. Now, I just think that that's an opportunity that you can look for when you look at these horses that showed some talent as 3-year-olds. And to me, Croupy is trending in the right direction. I think his last race was pretty sneaky good, trying to close into some horses that weren't going all that fast on the front end, and I thought he ran extremely well. If he can run his 2-back or 3-back race, he'll be right there at the wire, and he's 5-1. Mags?
Yeah, I think this race is a little bit more contentious than the 6-5 on Signator. As we take a look at him on the racetrack, look, he continues to kind of fill out. He's not my type of horse, to be fair. First of all, he's gray. He's a gray tappet. Here we are. Anyway, you know my song and dance about them. Though they do tend to be, at times, runners. But I give Shug McGahee and his team a lot of credit because, as he said, we had to stop on him. We've always liked him, but we had to stop on him from excuse me, October of his 2-year-old season, and then bring him back in the middle of summer. And it seems as though he's really put things together. Mentally, he's so much more of a sound and manageable horse. He just kind of goes out there and he knows his job now, and I really appreciate that. And visually, his performance last time was what you want to see. I'm never going to be that warm on him, especially at even money in the prelims, but look, I can see him winning here. I am going to go with a horse that also seems to be in good form, looking for also his 3rd win in a row. That's number 1, Constitution Lawyer for Ray Handel. I think, looking at his form, he's a horse that they have consistently thought wants more ground. So the fact that he was able to cut back to the 1-turn mile last time and get the win, I think was pretty admirable. He looks great. It just looks as though he's thriving right now. And he also projects to sit the right kind of trip where I think he can be handy enough coming out of that 1-turn race, but it feels as though there's a couple horses that sit in front of him and he's going to be able to save ground the whole way around there. Lafitte?
Maggie, Constitutional Lawyer, Dylan Davis, Ray Handel looking to go back-to-back, struck with Cafre in the 7th race. Sarah, key to success for Constitutional Lawyer today?
Well, he draws towards the inside, as Maggie mentioned, so that'll certainly help him out as you kind of want to be more towards the inside, saving that ground and be forwardly placed. He's in great form right now. I have no knocks against him. This might be a tougher field than he faced last time, but he certainly run into some good ones in the past, especially when he finished 2nd to Film Star, who at that time was in raging form.
You're in Signator's corner, yes?
I am. I don't love this price or how the track has been playing for him, but I think that he might be the best horse in this race.
Javier Castellano, the rider. What a year. First Derby, first Belmont, a 7th Travers win, and looking to close out 2023 with another stakes victory. Castellano aboard Signator, the favorite, in the 118th running of the Queens County Stakes, live on Fox Sports 1. Here's Chris Griffin.
Quality Chic. Is in. All set. And they're off in the Queens County, and it was a slow start for Signator. Lost Ark flashes early speed. Kinetic Sky is right there, and hard scent here is Lost Ark. Trevor McCarthy wants the front end, but has company here from Kinetic Sky. They're a clear 1-2, and they move swiftly up front. King Kumbale is tucked in between runners, is now challenging for the 3rd spot with Quality Chic from the outside draw. Will Crossover is now in the 3 path as they're working to that turn. At the rail, saving ground, Constitution Lawyers. They try to slacken off the pace. Then comes Croupi. Signator, after braking slowly, is second to last, and the late runner, Forewarned, is the trailer. 24 seconds flat for that opening quarter mile. It's Lost Ark to the inside. Kinetic Sky is ready to challenge, and Kinetic Sky is now put ahead in front of Lost Ark, who comes right back, does not want to give up that front end. Quality Chic is out in the center of the racetrack, is in 3rd. In between horses is King Kumbale, and continuing to progress here is Constitution Lawyer. In behind them, here comes Croupi, and Croupi is now within 3 of the lead. Signator is the gray out in the center of the racetrack, and the trailer is still Forewarned. 48.59 for the half-mile time, and they haven't caught Lost Ark. Lost Ark takes him into the far turn, is hard-ridden, and Kinetic Sky is back for more up on the outside, and here comes Kinetic Sky after the leader. Quality Chic is following them. At the rail, it's Constitution Lawyer. Dylan Davis looking for room. King Kumbale is bottled up in between horses. Croupi and Signator starts to move in closer, is now within 2 of the lead. Very tightly bunched here in the Queens County. 1:13 flat for 3/4 of a mile. Kinetic Sky has the lead. Quality Chic on the outside. Lost Ark down towards the inside. Constitution Lawyer, Signator, Croupi, they continue to rally, and here comes Signator on the grandstand side. Quality Chic, Kinetic Sky battles on. Croupi is right there, and Signator continues this long sustained rally. Signator, Kinetic Sky battles on towards the inside. A 16th to go. Croupi is back in the fray as well. Here's Croupi in between horses. Croupi will get up and win the Queens County. Croupi battles on, wins the Queens County. Right there was Kinetic Sky, Quality Chic. Signator faded to finish 4th in 1 minute 50 seconds flat in the Queens County.
Thrilling finish in the final stakes race of the year in New York. This Queens County 118th edition goes to Croupi, overcoming some significant trouble on the first turn, finding his best stride, entering the far turn with Kendrick Carmouche.
There were some trips in this race, lots of traffic early on, couple of horses not getting out of the gate all that quickly, and Krupe was able to overcome all of that. A horse who had had some trips in the past, certainly won in the Pennsylvania Derby, just grinding away on the outside, and it ended up being extremely close. 4-horse photo, basically, and Krupe got his nose out in front.
Mike Rapoli colors in between horses. Krupe, take us back to the start here, and there's lots to unpack, including Signator, the favorite, who has a tardy break.
He does. Constitution Lawyer misses the break a little bit. You see Krupe's further back with all of them, and now he gets shut off right there. As he had nowhere to go with King Kumbale crossing over, then he spun out extremely wide. Ran a huge race considering all of that.
Constitutional Lawyer, who you mentioned, sluggish leaving the gate, coming up inside of Krupe and then brushing him on his inside. Krupe reacting and in the process losing his momentum, losing several lengths.
And he had so much traffic turning into the stretch as well. Definitely one that got the worst of it in here and worth giving another shot next time. But Krupe, he overcame that trouble and was able to win at a generous 6-1. For a Todd Pletcher trainee going long, you don't get those prices too often.
Krupe here at 6-1, 4-8-6-5. 6-1 over 14-1. Kinetic Sky was right there. Signator, the favorite, off the board, and Kendrick Carmouche saying hello to the people. He's going to celebrate this one. His first grade 1 ever was for Todd Pletcher right here at Aqueduct, the Cigar Mile, a couple of years back. For Pletcher here in those Rapoli colors, Vinny Viola's St. Elias stable. Krupe, 4th lifetime win. The Discovery winner, who's now won 4 of his last 5. He's going well.
He is. He's a horse that always showed a little bit of ability and was one that wasn't putting all the pieces together, but I think that, as Jonathan mentioned, allowed to mature a little bit, grow up, and put all of the pieces together today.
Exciting addition to the Queens County results reaction coming up shortly. 4-8-6-5 and more exciting racing from Oaklawn. In case you're just joining us, welcome. Happy New Year from all of us here at America's Day at the Races. Live coverage on Fox Sports 1 from Oaklawn. It's all 2-year-olds today. Every race for freshmen, for 2-year-olds, and a post-parade for the 6, starting with Wreck-It. It's been a struggle for him to this point.
He's been big prices in all of his starts so far and hasn't really done much running in any of them. Switches back over to the dirt.
First bid, Chris Linderos in the Horton White.
Making just his second start. Didn't really do a ton of running on debut. Did cost $150,000 as a yearling.
Guarani, Three Chimneys debuting colt, expensive.
Big pedigree as well. This one a full sibling to Switzerland, a Group 1 winner over in Dubai.
Chun Money on his toes, feeling good.
Improved a little bit in terms of his placing, but not his Beyer speed figure second time out.
Shattuck, number 5, who faced some good colts and ran okay at 93-1.
He did. A huge price last time. As you mentioned, he was always pretty wide in there, too, so expect a better trip from him today.
Irish Ransom, not much in his Churchill debut.
No, and that was an off-the-turf race, so now facing dirt meant runners and has to improve quite a bit.
Nullified. Detroit Lion fans don't want to hear that word for a while. Followed by number 8, Go Captain, and the Norman Stables first-time starter.
And firing a lot of bullet workouts over at Delta, several in fact, and comes in pretty well-intentioned, not taking as much money as the morning line originally suggested.
Rocket 88, not much in 3 starts thus far.
Was forward last time and ended up fading in a race that had linebacker finish 3rd, run well earlier today.
And Encanto, Washington bred, he's improving.
And he showed a little bit more speed last time, wasn't able to sustain it, and just needs another step forward and a little bit more stamina.
Live first-time starter time for Truth.
Yes, absolutely. A horse that does have a bullet work, 5 furlongs in under a minute, best of 82 back.
12 is a scratch, 13 is a scratch.
You're on it.
Mr. Phillip on the outside, 6-1, draws in.
He actually went off favored first time out and ended up finishing 3rd. Robertino Diodoro, a barn that has excellent stats all around. He's only 1 for 45 first-time blinkers, 2-year-old maidens.
For those of you keeping score at home, Paul and Richie have given you 2 straight exactas at Oaklawn. Can you do it a 3rd time, gentlemen? No pressure.
Oh, my God. If we do it a 3rd time in a row, Lafitte, this would be a feat. No pun intended.
I'm feeling the pressure.
Yeah, I'm kind of, too, as well. This is where it gets fun because it's a kind of a 2-year-old race with colts where we've heard stories on multiple horses. Let's start with the horse that's invading from Delta Downs, the 8 horse. This horse has got bullet drills over. If a lot of people don't know Delta Downs, it's what we call a bull ring track. It's a half-mile track. So those are really fast works, Rich.
Really fast works. Out of the 10 works on the form, 6 of them are bullet works, meaning fastest works of the day. And looking at this horse's demeanor, he is dialed in. He is on his toes. He came out. He was galloping in place. He just looks like he knows why he's here. And I expect him to be very fast. Just looking at him from a physical perspective, he looks fast.
And there you see the races from the prices from the last race, Imperial Gun and Joel Rosario getting the job done. Joel Rosario is on your favorite in here, Guarani. I don't even want to say it. But this horse is a full to Switzerland or a half to Switzerland?
Full to Switzerland. Switzerland, an earner of $2.3 million. He is honestly the best turned out horse and the best looking horse in the race. Now, we know it's not a beauty contest, and we expect Steve Asmussen's horses to look great, but he just looks like a really classy individual.
Yeah, and you know, the 4 was actually, you know, Chun Money, he coming into the paddock, and me and Mig were dying laughing. This horse had straw all over him, like he had just woken up from a nice little nap.
Yeah, like he had the marks from the straw on his side. But once he got the tack on and the rider up, he really came to life. So even maybe he was one of those relaxed kind of horses that got a good game time nap.
Yeah, and the other horse that we're going to talk about is the 11 here, Time for Truth. Now, Ron Moquet talked to Mig, and he was telling Mig, listen, I've heard about the 8 in here, I've heard about the 3 in here, but we can also run as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Ron Moquet, terrific horseman. Had a winner yesterday. A lot of his horses running well, maybe not finding the winner's circle, but all a trainer can do is get a horse ready. Then he's got to turn the keys of the car over to the jockey.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could deal with that.
Right? And then the 14 taking the money for Robertino Diodoro. Favorite first time out, blinkers go on, had a lot of trouble in the first start. Don't really love the outside draw. Do you like that price at 9-2?
I don't. I don't like the outside draw. And listen, it may mean nothing. I put credence in it. The horse does have skin disease. Sometimes they just maybe not 100% when you're seeing that. I've also seen horses run through it, and it's not an issue. I really like the way the 3 looks. Guarani, you know, the pedigree's there. But 7-1 on Go Captain, the 8 with the big works at Delta Downs. Alec Berger, been working the horse. That's where I'm going to land.
You're landing on the Norman Stable runner, Matoli. Well, how about this? We're landing on 2 Matolis. I like the 4 in here, Chun Money for Donnie Von Hemmel. I think the horse gets a race over the racetrack. That could be the edge here, Lafitte. So we're going for a little bit of a bigger prices here. 8-4, 4-8, and trying to beat the first-time starters in here.
Trying for a 3rd straight exact at Oaklawn Park. Paul and Richie as these 2-year-olds make their way behind the gate. Sarah and Guarani, as they mentioned, looks the part, the expensive Colt 2-1, the favorite. What do you think?
I actually like him quite a bit. This is a horse that was actually entered opening day at Oaklawn and was on an also eligible list. He didn't get in that day, but that tells you that they've been looking for a spot for him, and he's been ready to go for a little bit. So that I thought was a promising sign. We know how well the barn does with their 2-year-old first-time starters, and the pedigree is huge for this one. So I liked him quite a bit. I remember liking him last time when I saw him on the also eligible list, and I like him again today.
Time for Truth, number 11, Ron Moquet, the first-time starter live on the board. His sire won an Arkansas Derby there in Omaha Beach. It's the action on the board. That tells you somebody thinks he can run.
And the Omaha Beaches have been running very well first time out. An excellent freshman season for him. They're firing at 25%.
Ron Moquet doing some talent scouting of these 2-year-olds with Time for Truth. All set for these 2-year-olds, 6 furlong sprint. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Race 6, Oaklawn, live on Fox Sports 1.
Shattuck in the orange. Still working with Shattuck. Irish Ransom will be second to last to load in, and then Mr. Phillip to round out the field. Irish Ransom goes in. Mr. Phillip. We're ready to go. And they're off. A stumble at the break for Reckitt. Drops to the back after that. Shun Money flashing the most speed, and Shun Money grabs the lead with the first, or Time for Truth. These two together on the lead with Ellen Canto wedged between them in the third position. Mr. Phillip right off of them in the black jacket fourth, followed by Go Captain running in the fifth position. Caught 5 wide. He's 3 lengths behind. A length and a half clear of Shattuck and Irish Ransom. Another 2.5 more to Rocket 88. He's 9 lengths off the pace sailing into the turn. Guarani, Nullify, they're side by side. They're 8 or 9 from the top, 7 clear of first bid, and Reckitt is the trailer after stumbling at the break. Ellen Canto, the first one out of the leading 3 to give way. Time for Truth in front. He's on the rail now. Shun Money got a breather around the turn. He's coming back at him, and those two are locking horns at the top of the lane. Go Captain in the third position. Losing ground is the top pair right together approaching the furlong pole. Time for Truth inside. Shun Money is outside. Time for Truth with a length lead. Shun Money trying to get by him, but Time for Truth starts to inch away. Time for Truth, the first time starter by Omaha Beach, is going to do it for the Ron Moquet barn. Time for Truth, your winner. Mr. Phillip was second home. Rocket 88 third, and Photo for fourth. I think it went to first bid.
And the Ron Moquet barn is starting to heat up as Time for Truth gets the job done. A son of Omaha Beach that was taking money here from 8-1 to 4-1. Gets the job done as the 14 in here. Really ran a bang-up race. Mr. Phillip for Robertina Diodoro. The blinkers go on, but much the best here, the 11. These two horses broke away from the pack, Mig.
Yeah, Time for Truth was very good first time starter. Very professional. Was good away from the gate. Established that forward position. I tell you what, too, with the pedigree and from a physical perspective, I feel like this is a starting off point. This horse will probably be better as they get, stretching out in distance. But this is a really nice effort, and I love, again, that pattern. 2 back, 59 and change, bullet work out of the gate, and then a nice, easy maintenance work. And I really got it done. The 14 was game, lugging in through the stretch, but no doubt about the winner, the 11, Time for Truth. Professional, straight as a string through the wire.
This is a nice little effort here. 110 and 2 is moving too. And I'm waiting for Ron Moquet to go by us so I can say, thanks, Ron, for telling us about all the other 4 horses in the race, Lafitte, just so that his horse could be 4-1. I got to give him some grief for that.
The talent scouting, as we mentioned. Hey, what about your horse, Ron? He had him primed and ready to roll, live on the board, performs accordingly, gliding under the wire. Time for Truth. Harry Rosenblum, Ron Moquet, Rafael Bejarano, and they're right, a game. Gaudy effort from Mr. Phillip to complete the exacta.
Yeah, I really did take another step forward, adding those blinkers, and not an easy thing to do to break from that far outside in a full field. He was right there. He just couldn't get by this very well-intentioned first-timer.
Pedigree to go on by Omaha Beach. Would have been a Kentucky Derby favorite. Out of a Looking at Lucky mare. Looking at Lucky, a defeated Kentucky Derby favorite. Results coming up. Oaklawn, here at Aqueduct, and Crouppy in a thrilling Queens County. Another look with Kendrick Carmouche asking him to pick it up. Crouppy finds his best stride and able to gut this one out over 3 others at the wire.
And he can thank his stablemate Lost Ark a little bit for helping set things up on the front end for him, but they were all coming late. Kinetic Sky, the only other one, a part of that early pace, and he had some trouble. He didn't have the smoothest of trips, had to check a little bit going into the first turn, but just grinding away and getting it done over 3 others right at the wire.
How much did you think the start, Crouppy had trouble? The best horse, won. How much do you think the poor start cost Signature?
A little bit. He's a horse that will always be coming from off the pace, so you never want to break slowly, give your competition an edge, but at the same time, it's not as though he was going to be the one setting the pace. An inconvenience, sure. Do I think it changes things? Perhaps not.
Crouppy, Queens County, final stakes race of the year here in New York. Horses in the paddock. You're looking at Sweet Mystery. Tonight, the ball drops in Midtown in minutes. The last race of the year at Aqueduct. One final time, one final race, closing out 2023 at the Big A. That's next.
Precocity.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run. Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner.
It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run.
It's
improbable to win the Whitney.
Adelphi Racing Club offering a truly personal thoroughbred ownership experience.
You'll have a lot of fun and excitement, and you'll meet some great people. All the folks I've met so far at Adelphi have just been super, and I've picked up some new friendships along the way.
We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors, we are partners. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
Great to have you with us. Happy New Year. New Year's Eve coverage from Aqueduct. One left on the program. Coverage as always. Brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit nairabets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Race 9 coming up shortly. 7 minutes out. Good allowance. Extended sprint, 7/8 of a mile. Fillies and mares that have reached the paddock. Contentious race here, Sarah. Two of them. It's 7-2. Number 3, Sweet Mystery, and Proud Foot, number 10.
And those do seem like the two main logical contenders. And we do have a situation today, of course, going into next year that we'll be paying out mandatory payouts in all multi-race wagers. No carryover in the pick 6, but only 2 horses are covered in this last race. And that's the number 2, Ichiban, as well as the number 9, Sweetest Princess. Anybody else paying 5 of 6 today?
Are you surprised those are the 2 that are covered?
Yes, I think that that's a kind of an interesting only 2 that someone has on their tickets. Of course, the first 2 legs of the sequence, not easy to come up with, very formful since then.
6 minutes out, we check in with Maggie one final time in 2023 for this paddock report.
But have you forgotten? I'm going to be right next to you in a moment there, Lafitte, as I'll join you on the desk. But yes, last time in the paddock here for this year is we'll take a look at number 3, Sweet Mystery, who I like in here. You know, it's a combination of several horses that are maybe trying to get the 7 furlongs from the 6, and several that are turning back a bit. And Sweet Mystery, I think, can be effective at the 7 furlongs. She's turning back a bit and never really in that comfortable spot. She was hustled from the get-go. I understand what Trevor McCarthy was trying to do with her last time, but she never really got to settle in and to get a breather and just find her stride. She looks great here, as she typically does, and she's been ultra consistent throughout, where she was beaten by repeat winner Ain't Broke, as we'll take a look at another horse who finished well behind her last time. That's number 1, Dame Cinco. But these connections, why aren't they being aggressive with this horse? They protected her off the layoff for the 40. They upped her. They up her again here. I don't know, but it kind of makes me scratch my head and wonder, could they like what they've seen in the morning? I will say, third off the bench, Lafitte, this is by far the fittest and tightest she has appeared since.
16, 17 to 1, Dame Cinco. It was one final paddock report from Maggie, unless she's going to do paddock reports from here for Oaklawn, which we could use, and could use her at Oaklawn today with all the 2-year-olds.
We could have. That's a great idea. Maybe next year they send her for 2-year-old day.
She can do it from the screen. Maggie will be joining me on set after this 9th race, Aqueduct. Post-parade, you saw Dame Cinco. Maggie said perhaps live at a price. Sweet Mystery right now, the favorite, 7-2. Another look there at Dame Cinco for Breeders' Cup Classic winning trainer Rick Dutrow.
And it was one of his first claims when he came back as a trainer, then later off for a little bit. And as Maggie has mentioned, they've been protective of her.
All those wins this year for Linda Rice, 3 of them from that filly, Ichiban.
Absolutely, and one of only 2 horses covered that will pay all 6 of 6 in the pick 6.
Sweet Mystery, Trevor McCarthy has ridden her every start this year. Then Vienna Code, number 4, last win December 2019.
She has some numbers that would make her awfully tough in here, but she's very inconsistent. We haven't seen a big performance as of late.
Queens County winning jockey Kendrick Carmouche on 2AT, then Golden Rocket. The return to dirt worked.
She was able to get the win over some state-bred company, now steps up to open in here.
Lisa's Vision, what a year, Javier Castellano.
Absolutely. His year has been absolutely incredible. He's making all the right choices in every level of race, and this is one, her dirt races give her a chance.
Valeluya, a 2022 highlight, her win at Saratoga for the Davises, Jackie and Robbie.
Absolutely, a team that we're always rooting for, especially here on set.
Sweetest Princess at 6 to 1.
The cutback really worked for her, and then she was facing tough company last time out to finish 3rd. An interesting prospect and one of the only 2 covered in the pick 6.
And the lukewarm favorite and proud foot wire-to-wire winner in her first race for Rick Dutrow.
She had some trouble getting out of the gate in the past, and then off the claim was able to break more sharply and got the win out of that race.
Field for the 9th and final. Post time 2 minutes. You just saw the choice at 3 to 1. Proud foot. Jonathan Kinchin is with us. What about Golden Rocket here at a price overlaid at 6 to 1?
Yeah, look, this horse that I think is a little bit interesting for a couple of reasons. One is if you look at the past performances, this horse looked like a turf horse. But I thought last time ran extremely well on the dirt considering. You're getting a much better price. Look, I think the 10 Proud Foot is a very live horse in here, very likely type, drawn well, all of the things that you like to hear. But horses 3 to 1, I'm getting twice the price on the 6 Golden Rocket. So what happens often in the winter at Aqueduct is you have these horses that have been typically running on the turf, but they say, hey, let's take a shot and see if this horse will handle the dirt. Golden Rocket passed that test last time, and I think that there is some value there at 6 to 1 because you know the horse can handle it. And ran a figure that's competitive with these. So while I think the winner comes between either the 6 or the 10, I think the 6 Golden Rocket is a much more attractive price.
Golden Rocket, 6 to 1 by Alpha, Travers winner in that dead heat with Golden Ticket several years back. Competitive, challenging race for the handicappers to close out the year here at Aqueduct, Sarah.
And you see a pretty open board because of that. I think maybe just kind of defaulting to trainer Rick Dutrow with a horse that did win and improve last time out in his barn. So possibly that leading bettors to believe that she'll do it again. It's a competitive race, and I think that that's very much so reflected in the multi-race wagers as well.
6 to 1 Golden Rocket. Jonathan's selection. We check back in with Maggie.
Golden Rocket might be the most overachieving horse that we have on the circuit because she is never really bet. She was bet a little bit last time, switching to the dirt and posting that nice victory. But I think that was more a result of the field. Now she does somewhat tougher against open company, but not all that much tougher. So I get what Jonathan's saying. I literally always forget about her because she's so unassuming. She is so tiny, so petite. She just must have the biggest heart on her ever. And Patty Farrow's done a great job with managing her. So I kind of root for her, but I'm always like, oh yeah, Golden Rocket. Did I even see her in the paddock? Anyway, number 9, Sweetest Princess. She's kind of been thriving off of her racing. Now, last time I think she was a little bit against the track where she was wired by 1 to 2 shot White Chocolate. Her race before, good enough. She just, like I said, looks as though she is thriving off of her racing, carrying great weight, looks the part, and another one that it seems as though she's a generous 6 to 1 that has a race in her that would win this, Lafitte.
A 12 to 1 winner, her last effort on a fast track.
And she was kind of overlooked that day because they were betting a Mark Hennig horse who had some excuses in her prior start, but the cutback really worked for her. She got some pace to close into, and maybe things end up setting up the same way for her. I agree that she definitely had some excuses last time out.
But like the overachieving Golden Rocket, how can you not pull for her now? Unless you bet somebody else, but aside from that.
Well, the great thing about racing is that even if you're betting and your horse might not win, there's still plenty of amazing stories and connections to root for. Sometimes it's hard to get past that with the dollar sign, but I am always one that is just a big fan of the races themselves, regardless of whether or not my ticket's a winner.
So many great stories in 2023. History made earlier today at Aqueduct. One final time, Chris Griffin with the call. Race 9 live from the Big A.
And they're off. Speed to the inside from Dame Cinco, right out to the front, and To a T is also trying to move forward. There's Golden Rocket. Golden Rocket just stalking off of Dame Cinco, 3 wide. That's going to be Lisa's Vision. Out wider comes Sweetest Princess to join them. That's the leading 4. Then To a T is in between horses in the orange blinkers. At the rail comes Ichiban, is joined by Sweet Mystery, who's in that back marker group. As Hallelujah tries to move forward with Proud Foot, who's going to be 5 wide up the backstretch with the early trailer, Vienna Code. 22-4 for the opening quarter mile. It's Dame Cinco who's got the lead, is up by a half length. Right to her outside, it's Golden Rocket from second. In third, here comes Lisa's Vision. Proud Foot is a touch wide, is rallying on from fourth. Sweetest Princess following that move. To a T is on the move with the winning move. Silks is moving forward now, is going to be wide. Ichiban drops back, got passed by Sweet Mystery from the back. Hallelujah, and Vienna Code is still the trailer. 46-1 for that half-mile time. Dame Cinco is battling on. Golden Rocket in between horses. 3 wide run. Here comes Lisa's Vision. Also trying to run on his Proud Foot. Sweetest Princess is going to tip towards the outside to make it 5 across the track. But Golden Rocket and Romero Mirage trying to put it away. Here's Proud Foot in pursuit. Lisa's Vision in between horses, and Proud Foot has now taken the lead. It's Proud Foot going to have to hold off an oncoming Sweetest Princess, and Sweetest Princess has got the momentum. Proud Foot is almost there. Sweetest Princess trying to cut into the margin. It's going to be Proud Foot and leading rider Manny Franco to win the finale here at Aqueduct. It's all Proud Foot to get the victory over Golden Rocket. Then came Sweetest Princess and Sweet Mystery in 1 minute 24 seconds flat.
Strong handling. Manny Franco, Proud Foot, repels all challengers, takes down the final race in 2023 here at Aqueduct, closing as a 5-2 favorite.
Fitting, right, that our leading rider takes the final race of the meet here at Aqueduct and was able to sit a nice trip towards the outside with this one. Sort of kept her involved in the race without pushing her too much early on, as we did see pace setter Dame Cinco start to drop back. Golden Rocket very game, right up and on that pace, just not able to hold off the likes of Proud Foot, though did hold off Sweetest Princess.
Franco, more wins than any other jockey on the NYRA circuit this year. Easily winning this fall Aqueduct riding title, simply dominant. Riding a lot for Chad Brown as he continues to develop and mature as a rider. He's a Belmont Stakes winning jockey. He's won Breeders' Cup event. And here, with an exclamation point, finishing out 2023, Proud Foot. And just the kind of that brute strength that he displayed, calling upon Proud Foot when challenged inside the final 16.
Yeah, a very aggressive rider, a very physical rider, able to get it done with her in this spot. And Manny has sort of been able to come up and win these bigger races. Of course, Tiz the Law, one of the big horses that put him on the map in 2020. And I know that the Kentucky Derby is certainly a race that's in his sights for one that he wants to win. Had a big shot with Tiz the Law, got wired in that weird year by Authentic, but certainly puts himself right in the mix to be somebody's first call for that Derby mount in the future.
Super talented, works hard, big. 2023, Manny Franco, Proud Foot in the 9th and final. Aqueduct, first of 2 stakes races. Oaklawn, lots of racing left at Oaklawn. All 2-year-olds all the time. This is the Renaissance, the boys, $150,000 purse. And we start with Google Joke, a maiden winner at Fairgrounds late November.
Horse that would need to improve a little bit based on his numbers, but now switching barns, comes in here for start number 3.
This colt can fly. Valentine Candy, Joel Rosario rides today.
We know he's quick, able to get a win already at the meet, going 5.5 furlongs. Can he stretch out that speed? One more half a furlong.
Big scratch. Booth is out. The second choice now, Norman D. Hero. There he is, third in the Eddie Brown at Churchill Downs.
And a horse that's gotten the better of Valentine Candy a couple of times now, and so it sort of doesn't totally make sense that he's the one not favored, but that could switch by post time.
General Shipman, number 5, no match for Valentine Candy in the Advent.
He was wide, but no real excuse, and a horse that had been facing a sort of lesser company throughout his career beforehand.
Tejon Pass, the Southern California invader.
We already saw Peter Miller get a win at the meet, and he comes in with this shipper. Flavian Pratt is there to ride as well.
And finally, Frost Free, 7th of 11 in the Advent.
He didn't get out of the gate all that quickly. He was kind of hustled up and then ultimately faded, but he would need to improve quite a bit to compete with the likes of the top 2.
2-year-olds in the Renaissance. First of 2 stakes races, all eyes on Valentine Candy, 4 to 5. All eyes on the tote board here at Aqueduct, screen right. Numbers 1, check that, the first and third place finisher. An objection here. We're not quite sure what the objection's all about, but an objection involving the winner, Proud Foot, and the third place finisher, Sweetest Princess, in the 9th at Aqueduct. Not quite done for the year at the Big A.
Just when you thought, right? A little bit more drama involved. We'll see what that ultimately ends up being.
We'll keep you posted. Out to Richie and Paul as we get closer to post time for the Renaissance. Guys.
Yeah, thanks, Lafitte. Yeah, this is the Renaissance. It's the start of our 2 stakes races. We also have the Year's End, which will be in race number 9, and the start of your lay pick 4. And as of right now, it does look like, at least to me, 2 horses stick out in here, the 2 and the 4.
Well, I think it's going to come down to trips, right? I mean, the Valentine Candy's kind of committed from the inside, has done his best running when he's allowed to show speed. When he went by here, I said he looked like a miniature version of Jackie's Warrior. Normandy Hero might really trip out. I think a lot depends on 6 Tejon Pass. If he shows as much speed as he's been showing in Southern California, he's going to make things tough on Valentine Candy.
You know, Normandy Hero is very interesting. You know, he lost to Just Steel last time, who was a very talented D. Wayne Lucas runner that he always throws in a good race here and there. And, you know, he probably was best that day, but he didn't have a great trip. But you make a good point about Valentine Candy, because when Valentine Candy won here, he's a Justified of a Candy ride mare. You would think he'd want to go further. And I asked Steve Essman, hey, are you going to go further with this horse? He said, no, I'm going to keep this horse in the sprint division and keep on going forward with this horse. And now at even money, you know, you go from Ramon Vasquez to Joel Rosario. I mean, obviously, Joel Rosario, champion jockey, and I would think he's reading the racing form, too. They have to go here, right? And you made a good point. It depends on the 4 is going to need an assist from somebody else here to run down the 2.
Well, and Normandy Hero, the 4, has already shown the ability to sit just off the pace, and he just could really trip out here. And you're getting 2 to 1 as opposed to even money, and I don't think a lot separates these horses. So I do think it comes down to trips, and we just saw a very impressive Omaha Beach break his maiden in the last race for Ron Moquet.
Yeah, it is true. And then, you know, when you get to the Peter Miller runner, he shipped in 3 the other day. They did not run. Obviously, a very, very tough read. In the Bob Hope, this horse did show a little bit of speed that day. Another son of Justify.
Yeah, well, again, could be 2 Justify slugging it out on the lead.
Yeah.
You know, listen, this horse was ridden by Mike Smith in all 3 starts, and he flashed good speed in 2 of those starts after breaking slowly on debut. Mike's not a send-em rider. He won't get in a horse's way. So this horse has natural speed.
I'm kind of with you. I thought the other horse on the outside here is the one Google joke, a horse that Sarah, you know, said, you know, a horse that's improving a little bit, got Lasix last time, obviously no Lasix today, but, you know, did win last time out under the care of Nacho Correas, now with Robert Medina.
Yeah, listen, a nice effort last time after stepping up from Maiden Claiming Company, got it done at the fairgrounds. I'm about the 4, Normandy Hero here. I just think he's going to sit the right trip, Paul.
Yeah, we both like the 4. I just think the value's a little bit better. In here, Lafitte and Sarah, the 2 probably going to trip out a little bit better, but if it gets a little bit heated up front, I think Normandy Hero's the horse you need here.
Normandy Hero with the absence of Booth, a strong second choice, 9 to 5. The guys are going with him. Valentine Candy, even money, part of the reason he's the favorite. What he did opening day. This was the Advent. Valentine Candy. It was Ramon Vasquez on that afternoon, and Joel Rosario rides today, and he won by daylight, and you could see it coming, rounding the far turn, Sarah, while Vasquez was still as a statue, the others riding to keep up, and they simply couldn't.
He was very comfortable towards the front and here, and as you mentioned, just a very confident ride, just asking him to switch leads and accelerate a little bit without having to go to the crop until right there, just kind of waving it at him, keeping his mind to business, but pulling away very professionally. And a 2-year-old that had flashed some good, sharp gate speed and really able to build on that debut win, earning an 84 Beyer speed figure for that effort with the slight cutback to the 5.5 furlongs. But why do I want him at a shorter price than the horse who's already gotten the better of him on multiple occasions?
Which is?
Normandy Hero.
Can he do it again? How does he do it again?
Well, I think that we're dealing with a situation where Normandy Hero has a little bit more racing foundation. This is a slightly more compact field, and he's going to have to keep close eyes on Valentine Candy early, but he's also overall run slightly faster races, earning an 87 in that defeat of Valentine Candy, tracking the pace in there. Maybe it's a situation where Valentine Candy is maturing now. He's tailing off, but I'd prefer him at a better price.
And as the guys were mentioning, the impact on race shape that Tejon Pass could have, drawn outside of those two.
Precisely, a horse that can be forward, and he could end up being the deciding factor in this race, even if he's not necessarily one of the top win contenders.
First of 2 stakes races, Matt Dinneman with the call, the Renaissance from Oaklawn, odds on Valentine Candy.
Own pass goes in. Frost free. We're ready to go. And they're off in the Renaissance Stakes. Google Joke off slowly. Valentine Candy on the engine early with Normandy Hero, General Shipman, Frost Free. Valentine Candy concedes the lead. Normandy Hero's on top by a half length. General Shipman wedged between horses. Frost 3 deep. And the 2 long shots hound Normandy Hero, the second choice in the wagering, with Valentine Candy a little bit eager now behind the pace. He's in a pocket 4th to the inside, just a length and a half off the lead, approaching the turn. Tejon Pass is next, and Google Joke is the trailer as they round the far turn. Normandy Heroes had company the whole way from General Shipman, and Frost Free 3 wide. Now Valentine Candy has a lot of run. He's waiting for a spot to go. He's trying to get outside of Tejon Pass, who's pinning in Valentine Candy. Can Valentine Candy fly away out of traffic? He's still looking. He's going to try to get outside here. Frost Free got the jump. Valentine Candy, now he finds a seam, and he's got a clear path to roll, and here's Valentine Candy. Google Joke on the extreme outside rolling, but Valentine Candy with a nice kick once again today on the Oaklawn strip, putting away Tejon Pass and Google Joke. It's going to be Valentine Candy, 2 for 2 to kick off his Oaklawn meet. Tejon Pass was second, Google Joke third, and 4th was General Shipman.
But the cool hands of Joel Rosario, no panic, as the 4 Normandy Hero showed all the speed and was kind of a little bit of running off as the 2-year winner clicked down to 3 to 5.
And he won like a 3 to 5 shot. He was sitting in that pocket, like you said, running up into Joel Rosario's hands. You knew he had a ton of horse underneath him when he was able to edge out, making a little bit of contact with the 6-horse Tejon Pass to create some room. To me, that kind of fell in the boundaries of race riding, but they did make some contact there to secure that position. Tejon Pass ran on well to hold on for second. Google Joke didn't break very well. Ran a big race just to even make that kind of wide sweeping run, flattened out a little bit. If he had gotten away cleaner, he would have probably been able to, run a little bit better, if you will, and maybe beat Tejon Pass. But Valentine Candy showing a new dimension. Yeah. And Normandy Hero was essentially eased under the wire. It looked like he was a little too keen, and sometimes, Paul, when riders have to get into a fight with a horse like that, it inhibits their breathing. And it looks like he just kind of shut down. Yeah, and the 2 was just much the best. I give Tejon Pass a ton of credit. He was reaching out, really trying to get to Valentine Candy, but just much the best here. Steve Aspen, the son of Justify, he said it last time after he won the Advent Lafitte. Now I'm going to keep this horse sprinting. Another $150,000 in the bank for Valentine Candy.
Yeah, Asmussen made it very clear. It's going to be all sprinting all the time for Valentine Candy. They mentioned the new dimension. Yeah, you can lock him up like Houdini, and he can still get out of it and win, Sarah. Some anxious moments throughout. Valentine Candy in a compromising position for much of the race.
He was, and these are the kinds of rides where Joel Rosario, if he's able to get through, he's a genius, and that's why we give him so much credit for being so cool under pressure and confident and patient. If he doesn't get out, it's not a good look. So able to get the benefit of a split in there, and Valentine Candy did end up being much the best. Now shows he can rate from off the pace.
How much trouble did you feel he was in about midway around the far turn?
I thought that with the moving up of the number 6 Tejon Pass, he was kind of going to have to keep waiting for room. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, a smaller field, so able to finally find some room and kick clear.
I wonder how concerned his trainer was watching the race unfold. Steve Asmussen standing by live at Oaklawn with Paul.
With winning trainer Steve Asmussen, who wins the Renaissance. He won yesterday with a nice little filly, but this colt is turned into a nice little colt here.
He really is. Looked like it when he broke his maiden this summer at Saratoga. You know, 2 quick stakes off the meet here at Oaklawn. Great purses and stuff. Just lovely to have a extremely fast horse for a very good ownership group.
Is it even better when you win kind of the way you were picturing it? Were you picturing it that way, Steve?
It was good to see him overcome something. Yeah. It really was. Obviously, his 2 victories were, you know, everything gate to wire, settled in the middle there. You know, I think Joel did a good job getting him out in the clear. I loved how steady he looked to the wire. It's just a quality horse.
Well, from yesterday, the stakes win, from Skelly winning, and now Valentine Candy getting the money here in the Renaissance. Mr. Asmussen's having a nice little weekend.
Having a nice little career at Oaklawn Park, holding just about every record there is to hold. Won more than 100 stakes wins. Took care of that last season with Skelly when he won the Count Fleet. Another stakes victory here. And yeah, it is that much more impressive, overcoming obstacles. Valentine Candy, thumbs up Joel Rosario. They enter the winner's circle. Valentine Candy, 3rd lifetime win, 2nd stakes win of the meet for the Heilig Brot. Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario, Valentine Candy, overcoming trouble in the first of 2 stakes races in Hot Springs.
Catholic boy standing at Claiborne Farm.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1. As always, coverage brought to you in part by Hillendale. Atalapa, just like it says on the track. New Year's Eve coverage in the final race of 2023 at the New York Racing Association. Taken down by the 10 horse on the outside. Proud Foot, and the jockey who won more races than any other on the circuit. As you said, fitting win, Manny Franklin to take down the nightcap.
Yes, absolutely. Nice to see him end the year with a win. Of course, our leading rider. A little bit of drama with an objection between Proudfoot and the number 9 Sweetest Princess, but not really much to look at there. And the pick 6 pays 5 of 6 to all who had it because we don't have a carryover going into next year.
Start over tomorrow. New Year's Day coverage right here. America's Day at the races. And moments ago at Oaklawn, where we still have more 2-year-old racing, more 2-year-old stakes racing, Valentine Candy. Joel Rosario gonna finally find some room to operate there. Asks Valentine Candy the question. He has the right response.
He did, and showing a new professional dimension for him, able to sit in behind horses, waiting to be asked for the cue, instead of being that horse that sets the pace. Few anxious moments there for your favorite, trying to find that racing room, but very much so the best once he did find it.
What did you make of Normandy Hero's effort this afternoon? What went wrong?
He was really keen. I will say, though, just a horse that shouldn't have necessarily been on the lead and was pressed by those 2 long shots. I think it just took it out of him. Maybe something amiss. We'll wait and find out, but just not his day today.
For Valentine Candy, just getting started in this 5-month meet at Oaklawn, already a second stakes win as we wind things down here at Aqueduct anyhow. Still have the 2-year-old racing from Oaklawn. Sarah is stepping aside before you do and go off gallivanting for New Year's Eve. You know, tomorrow is a school night. We have to be back here.
I'm well aware.
We have your just looking back, your favorite moment. What stands out in racing, your favorite moment of 2023?
Well, besides sharing the desk with you right now, of course, it's Jenna Antonucci winning the Belmont Stakes, of course, becoming the first female trainer to win any Triple Crown race with Arcangelo in very dramatic fashion and here, and just an incredibly cool moment to be a part of in person, a big day overall with plenty of stakes action, and then to end the day with this historic moment, being able to be nearby for the interview that she gave, hearing her extremely wise and well-spoken words of making your own seat at the table in a sport that historically has been male-dominated. To see so many women have so much professional success this year and have that train keep rolling forwards, it was just a very nice moment to be a part of as a fan of racing as well.
That quote, that moment just kind of sticks with you, didn't it? Jenna Antonucci shortly thereafter. So many layers to that story. You see Javier Castellano, the fist pump 2 races that had eluded the Hall of Famer for so long. The Kentucky Derby, a first, which he wins. A Belmont Stakes, look at him. How excited he was in that moment shared with Jenna Antonucci. Castellano's first ever Belmont Stakes, and it wasn't with some multi-million-dollar horse, this expensive blue blood. Arcangelo was inexpensive, more workmanlike. It was just a feel-good story all around in the end.
And racing, we've needed some of those this year and in other years to really have that horse that we're all rooting for, that we're all fans of, that star that you look forward to racing. You know, we have a lot of horses go off to the breeding shed, like a Flightline, who was our superstar of a couple years ago, and to have Arcangelo this year and Cody's Wish to look forward to. Those are the moments in racing that keep you coming back for more, and hopefully we get to be able to create more of those in 2024.
Reflecting on a exciting 2023, winding things down. Sarah is stepping aside. Happy New Year. We will see you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You're staying home and doing homework
work for tomorrow
tonight. YOLO. Step aside. Sarah leaving the set. Maggie Wolfendale will be joining me shortly. And a look ahead to, well, the road to the Arkansas Derby starts tomorrow at Oaklawn. The Smarty Jones, can you believe it? 2 decades since the Smarty Party took place. Smarty Jones, the 04 Derby and Preakness winner.
This is Maxfield. This is a Maxfield foal. Maxfield, the G1 Breeders' Futurity and G1 Clark Hero by Street Sense. Maxfield Full. They're just like him, walking, standing, looking perfect, and selling. This one made $500,000, the most by any freshman in 2023. Maxfield. He's the best in his field. Inquire now.
Oaklawn's newest attraction is the Mainline Sports Bar, a family-friendly sports-themed experience.
It's top-of-the-line sports bar. We have 3 Topgolf swing suites that are available for rental. We have 2 axe throwing lanes as well. Everyone who's come in has just had a blast. You know, we have a lot of places will just have it painted on bullseye. Ours is from a projector, so we have different games you can play on that as well. You can play tic-tac-toe. We have a duck hunter. We have a zombie killer, and then we've got our traditional bullseye board as well. I'm a big fan of the golf. I've never had the opportunity to play at Pebble Beach, so here we have a simulated Pebble Beach. It's the exact course. So it's an amazing experience to be able to come and do that here in Hot Springs. We've got a great bar. We've got a great menu with some amazing wings, pizzas, burgers. It's really something for everybody. Obviously watching football on a Sunday, and then with all the things coming up, March Madness.
You can watch your favorite game or race on one of over 90 large screen TVs and wager in the all-new sportsbook area. Oaklawn's newest attraction is the Mainline Sports Bar, a family-friendly sports-themed experience.
That Mainline Sports Bar. This was a memorable evening.
Yeah, for you.
Look at that. A hidden talent I never knew I possessed. Why? Because that guy who's probably thrown out Ricky Henderson trying to steal second base, I'm better at axe throwing than Paul LaDuca.
You are. I was a front row witness to it.
Two
and
hands,
I
sister.
was god awful. Let me tell
Look
you.
at that. I don't know where that
I
thing's
would
going.
be hiding too because, again, like you said, I was so bad I couldn't even hit the board. So it was more likely to go into one of your thighs or something.
Yeah, Tom, if she reaches for the axe, no worries. She won't hit you. I can't, make any guarantees about it. And yes, everybody just scatter. Get out of the way. Yeah, cocktails and axe throwing. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, we had to sign our life away to be able to throw those axes.
We
yes.
did.
So it was a talent I was remiss not to have.
So much fun. So much fun. So much to do out at Oaklawn Park where the racing does continue. Welcome up to the set.
Thank you. It's nice
a
and
little
warm
bit
here.
warmer here than it was.
I mean, my toes are
downstairs.
still like frozen. I just got feeling back in my hands. It was, it wasn't that cold as far as the temperature, but it feels like it's going to snow, and it's very damp. So
Yeah. We don't like chivalry isn't a real big around here. In case you hadn't noticed.
And the funny thing is, Richie, whenever he has to be outside, he always gets the better weather. I have not maintained a good relationship with Mother Nature, and she just throws it at me like, handle this.
You are a trooper.
Oh.
You're a trooper. And we're
Good
happy
job.
you're here to evaluate the 2-year-olds coming up very shortly at Oaklawn. All 2-year-olds all the time. And tomorrow, those 2-year-olds will be 3 and the first step towards the Arkansas Derby. The Smarty Jones in honor of the 2004 Derby and Preakness winner Smarty Jones. That Smarty Party, as popular as he was, and Maggie, one of the best performances of his career in the Derby, putting away Lionheart in the mud.
Every time you talk about Smarty Jones, it just gives me chills. He was the embodiment of the blue collar horse, right? He was a Pennsylvania bred. He rolled into the Derby undefeated. He would capture two legs of those 3 races and just be denied. And literally, Birdstone broke the hearts of so many Smarty fans across the country. But he was America's horse, and he took us on the ride with him. And the bulk of that preparation for the Derby took place in Hot Springs.
The catchy name, such a big following, such a popular horse, so much so that the owner of Birdstone, Mary Lou Whitney, the horse who denied Smarty Jones the Belmont Stakes, the Triple Crown, was literally in the post-race interview, Maggie. You remember, like, apologizing. Sorry.
I felt terrible for her because she was such a philanthropic woman and just gave so much to the sport. And you were in one way kind of pleased that she got a big classic win, but boy, everybody thought Smarty was going to be able to do it, and it was such a drought.
It was
26
It was
years?
in Durkin's call, I
Yeah.
believe 26 years.
Yeah.
Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
He was
and
crying
Smarty Jones, and he tore through Oaklawn and
did.
those series of races, the 3-year-old prep races, en route to the Kentucky Derby, that smashing win in the Arkansas Derby. So the Smarty Jones in that first step towards the Arkansas Derby, and now with $300,000, all of these purses inflated, and now a mile and a 16th, the Smarty Jones, and Just Steel, number 7, 9-5 morning line favorite. Let's revisit his most recent, the Eddie Brown Churchill, late November. Maggie, Just Steel just delivers for the coach. Impressive here on the outside.
There's one thing that will flabbergast me in this race. That is if Just Steel goes off favored. He turned back in distance here to the 6.5 to win this Eddie Brown, and he got a great figure, and I suppose somewhat, complimented by who he beat that day. But for me, Lafitte, he feels like a true sprinter. They're going to try yet again to send him down this Derby route, but I think at the end of the day, they might have to regroup after this one and say, you know what, we just have a nice sprinter on our hands.
He beat Booth, hoping to see Booth earlier today. We didn't. He scratched. So if not him, if not the favorite, then who in tomorrow's Smarty Jones?
The 3-prong attack from the Brad Cox barn, who are looking for their 3rd win in this race, winning last year's edition with victory formation. They're going to send out 3 in here. Catching Freedom looks like a kind of main player in here. Brad Cox saying that he lost a little bit of focus when being in tight down the stretch, hoping that the 2-turn suits him, and then taking the blinkers off of Gettysburg Address. Brad saying that he wants to get this horse to relax because he certainly trains like a horse who wants more ground, and they're going to try at it once again, hopefully getting a fast track tomorrow.
Brad Cox winning last year's Arkansas Derby. Angel of Empire wound up being the post-time favorite for the Kentucky Derby. Here is the series. They'll all be 3 tomorrow. These 2-year-olds, Smarty Jones, and the Derby points available. Again, a mile and a 16th, just like the Southwest. These big purses this year. The Rebel Stakes in late February, and the road to Louisville through Hot Springs. As always, Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, 100 points to the winner, and this year a $1.5 million purse, the most lucrative of all Kentucky Derby prep races. We'll have that Smarty Jones for you tomorrow on America's Day at the Races, and more 2-year-olds today as our coverage continues. New Year's Eve on Fox Sports 1 and an $80,000 allowance optional claimer. There's the field, updated odds. Carbone 6-5, the heavy favorite, as we check in with Paul and Richie on site. Guys.
Well, a lot of candy's been going on here. Valentine candy in the last race, and we got an Andy's candy in this race. Hopefully you got your candy out of the way during Christmas time, and you got your candy and butterscotch shots ready for tonight for the New Year's. Myself and Richard Miglioia roll along here. We still got another stakes race, the last 3 races here at Oaklawn. So get involved. They pick 3 in here, and this could be another race where we could see something special here. We got a horse in here in the 8 in Carbone who won by 8 lengths first time out, a son of Matoli for Steve Asmussen, and boy, was he impressive.
That was sprinting. He won off by 8 lengths. He got a big figure. He ran 109 and change, but he is by Matoli, and Matoli was, you know, pretty much a sprinter. He did win the Met Mile, so I don't want to take it away from him. This is a tough kind of ask, though. You know, a lot of changes. Now facing winners, stretching out a 1/4 mile. Listen, the figure's there. You can't deny that. I'm looking in a little bit of a different direction, maybe for an upset, but he looks formidable on paper.
Yeah, as you see the 5 go by Andy's Candy, this is a horse that has a ton of talent. The gate's kind of been his issue. He's going to be rolling late. The 6 light line is your second choice for Brad Cox. Cox Barn's been a little chilly, though.
Has been a little chilly here, but, you know, they put Flavian Pratt on light line, and maybe they're hoping that he pulls a flight line.
Wow, that's actually pretty well done there. The 7 went through Willie's D's. Reportedly, Greg Compton told me, listen, I almost entered this horse into the Smarty Jones. So he's training well. And the 9 Northern Flame for Kenny McPeak. Listen, this horse was 4th behind Locked in the Breeders' Futurity. Now not been seen since the Street Sense, where he was just a flat 5th. But he probably didn't like that racetrack. He could be ripe for a nice little return here, too, as well.
Well, Paul, I'm going to ask you something, because I'm not good when it comes to, like, you know, identifying value, if you will, right? But Willie D's was 2nd last time to Valentine Candy, who was just very impressive winning the stake, the Renaissance. But he was only ahead in front of Andy's Candy. He's 7-2. Andy's Candy is 13-1.
Andy's Candy is so interesting because the 3 times that he's run, we're talking about the 5, he's gotten left in all 3 starts. But he's gotten back quick on his feet and sort of been a grinder. When you look at the PPs, he looks like a dead closer. I don't think he's actually a dead closer. I think he'll like going a distance to ground. The issue is he's got to get out of the gate, and he can't be dead last in the field of 12.
No, and you don't want to lose position and get shuffled around and then try to have to make that up. You know, to me, looking at him from a physical perspective, he absolutely looks like he'll appreciate going further. I'm going to land on him at 13-1. It's a swing, but, you know, listen, Carbone, very impressive first time, but it's stretching out a 1/4 mile. There's questions here.
Let me ask you, as a jockey, you have Carbone. Here's a horse that just won by 8 lengths, stopped the clock in 109 and change, by the way, in his first start. You know the way the jocks are here, as in they are aggressive. Mm-hmm. Are you being aggressive with this horse? Because so far this horse knows one way to go.
Well, I'm not getting in his way. I mean, you know, I'm not going to try to experiment first time running into the first turn. I'm going to allow him to do what he does naturally. That doesn't mean send him. That doesn't mean grab him. That means break, quiet, let him fall into your hands, almost like a whisper, and allow him to do his thing. And one thing, the art of riding a front runner, if this horse is indeed in front, is once you've established your position, right, and you've gotten the pace the way you want it, at some point, use your trump card, use that advantage, allow a horse to start marching on. They're running to the first wire, the short wire. I don't think you want to hold the horse up and wait for closers to have momentum on you. You want a horse to start kind of, you know, moving on.
Yeah, I want to show, if we can get Sarah, our camera girl, she's going to show you the first wire over here. Sometimes a lot of people don't get to see it, but the first wire has a little finish line thing on it, and it will say finish, and it's lit up. So the jockeys will say it, and Matt Dinnerman will see it, and Matt Dinnerman usually will shout it out, but it does light up finish, Mig. I was trying to tell you that earlier, but it's pretty cool how it lights up.
Yeah, I mean, and I had not known that until you pointed it out. But listen, as far as when you're a rider, when in doubt, just keep riding. Don't worry about which wire. Ride all the way to the second wire if you have to.
Lafitte, by the way, this is coming from a guy that admitted that he misjudged the wire here before but didn't get caught.
Happens to the best of them. Cost Bill Shoemaker a Kentucky Derby, misjudging the wire at Churchill Downs. The short wire here at Oaklawn for this mile event, and these 2-year-olds, Maggie Carbone at 4-5. What do you? Is he trustworthy in your opinion?
Not necessarily at the distance, Lafitte, in that
Yes, he is very quick away. He looks like the confirmed speed, like he was going the 6th first time out. But you look at the pedigree, Mig mentioned the Matoli on top. There's not much in the immediate pedigree on the bottom side, but you go back a generation, the second dam, she was the greatest stakes winning sprinter that Steve trained. So there's some doubts and some reasons to kind of maybe poke holes in Carbone at 4 to 5. Lightline, at least he has the experience going longer. And last time, I just think he was wide against the winner and was just second best that day at Keeneland. Now he comes back a fresher horse. So if anything, between the two, I feel like Lightline's a more trustworthy proposition here.
3 to 1, 13-length debut winner at Indy mid-September. Lightline, we lean on you heavy for the 2-year-olds when they're in the paddock, Saratoga, or anywhere else in terms of gauging how they look and how that can be they can tip their hands as far as the clues of how they'll perform out on the racetrack. When you're trying to do it looking at a screen, how tricky is that to evaluate horse flesh through a screen as opposed to being there in person?
Well, as I always say, horses are lucky not to be like humans because the TV always makes them look better. They look shinier, they look bigger, and that's not necessarily good things for us. So it's tough, but watching the way that they move at least gives you a decent inclination. Now, a horse that I've noticed he's gotten a little bit warm there, but looked really good having a solo warm-up beneath Julien Leparoux is number 9, Northern Flame. Paul mentioned him. Maybe it was just a sloppy track last time. He's had a little bit of time off since then, but he's run that race in that Breeders' Futurity that makes him a player. If he can get back to that, he'll be competitive here, and he's 6 to 1. Long shot that I find interesting is number 4, Michaelicious. He'll have to improve, but I like the fact that he was really hitting his best strides late going the mile last time out.
Name for his trainer?
Possibly.
Mike Maker?
Possibly.
Maybe?
All right. Oh, he's being a little obstinate to go in the gate.
This is what I've noticed today. There was one horse earlier that broke through the front of the gate, but these huge fields, these 2-year-olds, inexperienced, the crew, the gate crew, and they're just very well behaved. It's been relatively quiet and professional 2-year-olds for most of the afternoon to this point.
This gate crew is amazing. They are so efficient. They load so quickly and kind of get them in and out before they're allowed to do anything that would cause the whole string of them to start misbehaving.
Carbone, odds on. It is post time. Matt Ditterman with the call. Race 8 live, Oaklawn Park.
Andy's Candy has got it. 2 back, Lightline, and Market Street. Waiting for Market Street to take his turn. We're ready to go. And they're off. Northern Flame stumbled badly. Jockey Julien Leparoux did a good job to stay aboard, but he's in the second last position early. There goes Carbone right to the front. The big favorites on top. Decisively clear approaching the clubhouse turn. Carbone's the leader in the early stages. Gabar on his heels. Andy's Candy a joint second with that rival. Pappy's Revenge stalking the pace with Willie D's and the Arkansas bred Holus Bolus, who's 3 deep. He's 6 lengths off the pace, racing in the 6th position. A half length in front of Michaelicious. Gewürztraminer is next in midfield, a length clear of another pair, Market Street and Judge McBee. Northern Flame after the bad break is second to last, and Lightline can only see backside as they make their way down the backstretch. Carbone is the leader 3/4 of a length. Andy's Candy in a good gallop now right behind him second. Gabara third to the inside. After that comes Willie D's. Pappy's Revenge finds himself between horses. Michaelicious down on the inside. Gewürztraminer sent along 7 behind, along with Market Street, who broke on the outside. He's down on the rail. Northern Flame, Lightline's getting into gear now. He's passed about 5 horses, but he has 8 lengths to gain as they round the forward turn. This race will end at the 16th pole. Carbone opens up that lead to a length and a quarter. Ricardo Santana Jr. took a peek back, and he's got to like what he sees. Lightline continues to charge from towards the back of the field. He looks like the main threat to Carbone. Again, this race will end at the 16th pole. Carbone asked for his best. A 3-length lead now as he shoots away. Lightline second. Andy's Candy third. Carbone, did he get the 2 turns? The answer is a decisive yes. Carbone Steve Asmussen with a big day today. Lightline's second home, ran well, but has to settle for that second spot. Andy's Candy third, Northern Flame fourth.
Well, no doubt about the winner here, Carbone from gate to wire. Good ride here by Ricardo Santana. And, you know, at the 5 in here, Andy's Candy was chasing as hard as he could, but Carbone had a lot under the engine. Did Ricardo Santana. Santa Matoli, we were talking about getting the 2 turns. No problem today.
No problem. And listen, Ricardo was so resolute. He allowed his horse to use his speed, establish the lead, got him into a beautiful rhythm. His ears were up down the backstretch, and when they turned for home, he kicked on well clear. I thought it ripped the heart out of the 5, Andy's Candy, just a little bit. Might have cost him the place, but a really nice effort by the winner. And Carbone from Goodfellas, right?
Yeah, from Goodfellas. He didn't end up well. He ended up in a freezer, did Carbone Lafitte, but he ended up in the winner's circle today. And by the way, the 9, phenomenal athleticism by Julian Leperoux. Matt Dinnerman called it. He almost fell off this horse out of the gate, and this horse ran a giant 4th, but Carbone gets the job done.
Yeah, that was going to be a real tough segue. That was going to be a tough segue.
I'm glad you circled back to Northern.
Let's talk about Northern Flame not breaking instead and still running well. Carbone in the UT colors for the Heiligbrot's. Big University of Texas supporters and fans. A big game on the horizon in the college football playoff. Carbone and for the Heiligbrot's and Asmussen back-to-back from Valentine Candy in the Renaissance to this victory here. Impressive, Carbone.
Yeah, a huge day for the Asmussen barn so far here on this card. I mean, they'll have Neon Beach coming up in the next race in the year's end, excuse me. But Carbone, you could see as soon as he broke Lafitte, those ears flicking back and forth, he was so comfortable on the front end, and Ricardo looked to be loaded turning for home.
Remember with that my favorite race with Tom Amos, and his wife asks him about Serengeti Empress and the Kentucky Oaks. Isn't she going too fast? And he says, not that fast for her, and he could tell because of the ears.
Yep.
The ears twitching back and forth. You saw some of that here with Carbone. Nice and relaxed. Able to route and wires this field. Big day, Steve Asmussen, and for the Heiligbrot's, Ricardo Santana. Carbone, the favorite, delivers in the 8th at Oaklawn.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
At Three Chimneys, our name is our promise. Our commitment to quality, our customer, and most importantly, the horse, is at the heart of who we are. For over half a century, the Storied Stallion Station and Nursery have been a place where dreams are born. From Horse of the Year, the mighty Seattle Slew, to Horse of the Year and modern-day breed shaper, Gunrunner, we've been defined these past 50 years by the company we've kept. Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Great to have you with us on this New Year's Eve. Fox Sports 1 live coverage, America's Day at the Races. That is Oaklawn Park. Our coverage, as always, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual. Unusually well. Steve Asmussen doing what he usually does at Oaklawn, win races in bunches, this time with that colt. Carbone, his sire, just a monster, Matoli. And this is a homebred, the High Lake Bros Who Campaign Matoli Breeders' Cup Sprint winner. We're not saying Carbone is Matoli, but he's developing nicely and proves that he can handle added ground today.
And Lafitte, I didn't get a good look at him prior to going to the gate, but watching him through the running of this race, he looks like a bigger type that does carry a lot of ground. And he wasn't stopping going this 2-turn mile today. So, in Steve Asmussen we trust. Steve is usually very adept at knowing which horses want to do what. And yes, they might try, 1 or 2 in the Kentucky Derby line of prep races, but they quickly, will regroup and turn one back. And this one looks like the future is in distance races.
For Rasmussen, not done yet. Second of 2 stakes races, this time the fillies in the $200,000 year-end stakes. Denim and Pearls. Wow, 3-5 early on with Flavien Prat in the saddle for trainer Brad Cox. Much more on this year's end. And these 2-year-old fillies coming up next from Oaklawn Park. Also revisiting some of the highlights of 2023. Arcangelo there in that history-making performance. Finally, a first Belmont Stakes for star jockey Javier Castellano, and the horse and the story that stole everyone's heart, Cody's Wish, in that memorable performance in the Met Mile.
The Run Happies are running, the Run Happies are selling, the Run Happies are winning. Eclipse champion Run Happy is showing a new dimension with winners on turf, dirt, and all weather. A record-breaking sprint champion, Run Happy is also showing winners at all distances.
The son of Run Happy, Nutella Fella, has won the hopeful.
One happy mama wins the Iowa sorority. Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Yeah, the sun is set here in South Ozone Park. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1. Still have live coverage coming your way from Oaklawn. The Year's End Stakes is next for 2-year-old fillies, but we have some time, about 14 minutes out. The end of the year, New Year's Eve, you tend to do a lot of reflecting, Maggie, and highlights in racing and certain moments. Is there one moment, one performance, one story that comes to mind as far as your favorite in 2023?
I think just the overall success that women have had in racing, the benchmarks, the milestones that we were able to achieve, and it all kicked off in this year's Belmont Stakes with Jenna Antonucci becoming the first female trainer to win a classic, and just doing it with a horse that cost $30,000 that her owner purchased just because he liked the look of him, and the run that she took us on, and how accommodating she was to all of us on the media side of things, and the quotes that we were just talking about, the quotes that she gave us, and how well she had her head screwed on for this ride that this horse took her on. From here, he'd go on and win the Travers, unfortunately not being able to see him in the Breeders' Cup, but still, and it marking the first win for Javier Castellano in the Belmont Stakes. But now with the year coming to an end today, we saw Linda Rice posting the highest number of wins on the NYRA circuit. We saw Brittany Russell winning a Maryland racing title, first woman in history to do that. So it really was a year for the ladies.
This summer, Katie Davis had at Saratoga, and that story and the traction, the fist pump there from Jenna Antonucci, just a great ambassador for the sport. Part of that story, Javier Castellano. And for you have two daughters.
Yeah.
And the role models to be able to look up and see, like, we can do that too, and have that kind of success at the highest level.
Right, and it's the highest level, right? Because so many women are involved behind the scenes, and they don't get the credit, they don't get the limelight. So for them to be thrust into that position and handle it with such aplomb and be so, like you said, set such good examples for future women in racing to follow.
Some of the highlights, great moments in racing in 2023. Richie and Paul, like, aside from the multiple exactas you gave out today at Oaklawn, your favorite moments, the highlights of racing in 2023.
Well, Mig and I were talking about this even yesterday and going over. It's just so hard to quantify what happened in 2023 in horse racing. I think Maggie just summed up a lot that went on, and I'm going to stick with the ladies myself. Meg, having this, spot here, and this was just unbelievable to me to watch Clairiere run down Secret Oak in the Apple Blossom. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was my birthday weekend, and Maggie was here, if I'm not mistaken, that day. A storm was coming in. They had tornadoes coming from Little Rock. I had never seen Azib Asmussen be that animated in my life. I still don't know how Clairiere got up to beat Secret Oath. And I remember D. Wayne Lucas going right up to Steve Asmussen, giving him a handshake. They both hugged each other, the camaraderie of these two great mares in the filly Secret Oath. But it's just, the storm started coming as Clairiere came down the stretch. I got to see that live, and it was just so captivating to me. And to see Steve and Wayne, two legends of the game, hug each other, really brought that together for me. And I know you're going to focus on a certain person.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But Clairiere gunning down a Kentucky Oaks winner who had a 2-length advantage on it was a spectacular race. For me, the story was, and listen, I'm jockey-centric, right? Javier Castellano. He was a rider that a lot of people wanted to retire. He was finished. He wasn't the same. Watching his reemergence as an elite rider, winning the Kentucky Derby, winning the Belmont Stakes for Jenna Antonucci, I thought was spectacular. And again, I'm sensitive to that. Years ago, I had a conversation with the legendary rider Jacinto Vasquez, and he asked me a question, Paul. He said, what's the first thing to go on a rider? Is it their heart? Is it their legs? Is it their eyes? And the thing I came up with, well, it must be their legs. He said, no, it's their customers. People will turn their back on you when they can get a younger guy or a younger rider, somebody that they feel can fill your shoes. And the fact that Javier was able to reinvent himself with the stewardship of P.J. Campo, his agent, I thought was a spectacular story this year.
Once a 300 hitter, always a 300 hitter. Once a champion rider, always a champion rider.
All those misses in the Derby and Belmont Stakes, 15 or 16, and all those years he had to wait, and then finally in the later in the twilight of his career, Castellano winds up getting that first Derby, that first Belmont on 2 different horses in a matter of 5 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. It was so good to see Javier do that, because I love that story that Meg just told about Jacinto Vasquez asking him, and it's so true. It really is, because there's always younger guys waiting in the wings to take your place, and the support that Javier Castellano has gotten from a lot of the horsemen, especially here in New York, I think speaks to the fact that he still has a lot of talent left in there.
A lot left in the tank. Big year, Javier Castellano, and by the way, like a 22nd win in the Travers Stakes as well with Arcangelo. JK, for you, what comes to mind, your favorite moment in racing in 2023?
Well, for me, it was what we saw here at NYRA with the Met Mile. The Met Mile is my favorite race, basically, of the entire year. I look forward to it. Very excited about it. And seeing the way that Cody's Wish won, right? He broke a little bit slow, and we knew he was really good, but there's still kind of that moment of, is he going to be able to kind of overcome this situation? Does he want to go a mile? Blah, 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 blah. And the way that he swept the field that day and just kind of, ran towards the outside and beat all those other horses after breaking slowly, I thought was an outstanding racing moment. But I think it's all, if we're being honest, it's fair to note that what Cody's Wish did throughout his career, I think a lot of the emotional portion of that came with the story that came along with who he was named after in Cody Dorman. And sadly, we lost Cody Dorman right after the Breeders' Cup, after Cody's Wish won his back-to-back Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. But when I was asked the question of what moment kind of stands out, why not take the most emotional moment for other reasons and mix it with my favorite race? And it was a pretty easy one for me to pick, and that was Cody's Wish winning the Met Mile.
He was the best horse in training. It was the best story in racing. You have such a unique perspective, Maggie, because right after the race, in these big races, you're the first one that talks to the jockey. What do you remember most about interviewing Junior Alvarado after that Met Mile and Cody's Wish?
That he said to me, so often when I ride this horse, I feel so much pressure that if I don't get the job done, then it's me who feels / looks like the villain. And that really stuck with me because when you ride these big horses, yes, it's such an honor, but it's also a voluminous amount of pressure. And he's a horse that isn't necessarily the easiest to ride, because he gives Junior a lot of, sometimes fits at the gate, leaving the gate. So a lot of times having to overcome being out the back. He was able to do it in the Met Mile, just proving of how good of a horse he was. But it was a lot of fun to watch that whole ride.
That was a goosebump moment being here, and Tom Durkin calling that Met Mile, that incredible story, and Cody Dorman, who we last lost sadly, and what the horse meant to him and what the horse meant to the family and their connection, and seeing it all unfold, and a horse who is in a finalist as Horse of the Year and championship honors certainly for 2023, as we look back at some of the highlights in racing over the past calendar year and look ahead to the future with more 2-year-olds and 2-year-old stakes racing with the year's end in 2-year-old fillies next at Oaklawn.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
Smandarella could not have been more impressive.
The sun shines bright on this value sire.
Fair down 25, fair down 25, fair down. Thank you. Right here, 525,000.
Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
Game Winner first got started and ran a very, very impressive maiden race to Del Mar. Came back in the Del Mar Futurity and again won very impressively at 7 furlongs, and then just continued that unbelievable 2-year-old year. Went on to win the American Pharoah Stakes at Santa Anita and then the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and then was obviously crowned 2-year-old champion. Got the precocity to do that, plus the stamina and everything that his whole family indicates.
You're watching America's Day at the Races. As always, coverage brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. 2-year-old fillies. In hours, there'll be 3 updated odds with Denim and Pearls. The odds-on favorite 3 to 5. $200,000 purse. A mile is the distance. They'll make the turn. Start the post parade. You'd all surprised at Denim and Pearls that she's that heavy of a favorite?
Yes. That's an affirmative.
As soon as I think I need to fill time, they're
I
ready
know,
for
there
the
they
post
are.
parade. Floating Beauty, there she is. 16-leg debut winner at Delta.
Totally blew that 2-turn, 6.5 furlongs race apart. Looked like she was in another zip code. She's going to have to be in another zip code to even get a whiff of this field. Far better field.
Tapit Ginelli, undefeated in 2 starts.
Yeah, she comes in from Louisiana, too. Interesting pedigree. Her dam's a full sister to Omaha Beach.
Arkansas Derby winner. Esternia, number 3, second start on dirt.
Yeah, I mean, she's run okay setting the pace last time, but she just looks overmatched again.
9-1, Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario, Neon Beach.
She interests me. Now, yes, she won an off-the-turf event, but at that point at Churchill, Connections already kind of knew there wasn't going to be any turf racing.
Another Omaha Beach, and here's another Matoli, ice cold at 5-1.
She kind of took a while to get into stride when finishing a distant second to Denim and Pearls. I'm not in love with the way that she finished up that race.
Pula, number 6, 17-1, an outsider.
Phil Bauer coming in. I mean, I don't discredit any Phil Bauer horse.
Seen the success he's had at Saratoga the last couple of summers. Then Denim and Pearls on the outside, the heavy favorite, undefeated in 2 starts.
And she has taken down several runners that she faces here again. She has some gears, which is something to be admired. First time around 2 turns today.
Paul and Richie on site. Denim and Pearls, odds on. Should we believe the hype?
Well, I don't know if you want to deal with 1 to 2. That's what we're dealing with right now. Is you got a good look at the paddock there. That is the paddock here at Oaklawn. Listen, this is a filly for Brad Cox. Has won an open lengths in her first 2 starts, Mig. So I understand the public is going this way. 3 to 5 might be a little excessive.
I think it's a little bit short. Now, this horse has won at the mile distance, but has never been around 2 turns, where several of our rivals have, including the inside horse going 6.5, Floating Beauty. I thought Tapit Jen Ali was very interesting. By Tapit out of a Warfront mare. Now, we know Warfront has a tremendous sire, but he's a sire of sire as well as a tremendous broodmare sire, a Claiborne Farm stallion. I thought she was interesting in making her 3rd start. She has foundation.
Yeah, she has foundation, you know, and the 5 in here, ice cold in here for Julian Leproux and Kenny McPeak. Kenny's already had a winner. They had a horse a little unfortunate out of the gate in the last race, but I would think the 5 fires a big shot here. And you know what? The 1 is the unknown in here, right? And, you know, you got 2 horses coming in from Delta. We talked about the 2. The 1, Floating Beauty, won by 16.25 lengths first time out for Lonnie Briley. Jansen Melancon comes in from Delta down to ride.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to be impressed with that debut. You pointed out something really interesting to me, Paul, about the 5 Ice Cold by Matoli out of a Street Sense mare. Who won the last race?
Carbone, Matoli out of a Street Sense mare. So you can understand why Steve Aspen sent that horse long. And yeah, this is an interesting race. I can see the 7 just jogging here. You know, the first time when she won, she had a fight. Her last time, she kind of just went around that field. She was so much the best. And when I look at the 4, because I saw Maggie, you know, said the 4 was very interesting. And how can you not look at Steve Aston runners? He's looking for what we'd call the golden sombrero. He's looking for 4 on the day.
Man, well, hey, listen, if you're a rider, you want to get in that Asmussen barn here at Oaklawn Park, don't you? I'd be camped out there every morning,
right?
5:15. I'd show up, I'd find out how he takes his coffee. I'd show up with a coffee for him, you know, whatever you got to do.
One of the best things, Lafitte, after that last race, Ricardo Santana goes, woo, I like these kind of horses.
And he's been there many times before for Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana, like multiple riding titles at Oaklawn Park. At the gate for the year's end stakes. Maggie, any final thoughts?
I'm a little interested, as Paula was saying, in number 4, Neon Beach. We'll see if the Asmussen barn can get 4. She's one I've actually seen before up in Saratoga. Yes, she's going to look like a turf horse, but this isn't a deep racetrack, so a lot of times turf-meant horses can handle it.
All set. Year's end stakes, these 2-year-old fillies. It is post time. Matt Dinneman standing by with the call. The year's end, live from Oaklawn on Fox Sports 1.
Here's Denim and Pearls. 3-5 for the daughter of Into Mischief. We're ready to go. And they're off in the year's end stakes. Neon Beach gets the first call. Esternia out alertly with her. Denim and Pearls right off the top pair who are right together. Denim and Pearls in a good tracking position into the turn. Floating Beauty next with Tap It Janali. Then comes Ice Cold. The Indiana bred is running in the 6th position. She's only about 5 lengths behind though, and she's 5 or 6 ahead of Puka, who's the distant trailer. Approaching the backstretch run, 22-1 long shot. Esternia leads the way under Manny Esquivel, is on top by about a half length. Neon Beach is pressing from the outside. Denim and Pearls still in 3rd. Floating Beauty alongside of her. Length to another pair. Tap It Janali inside of Ice Cold, and still a big gap back to Pula, who's the trailer with a half mile to go in the contest. Esternia trying to make every pole a winning one here. A neck in front. Neon Beach still hounding. Denim and Pearls with absolutely no excuses in the 3 path, getting closer without being asked into that turn. And the top 3 now line up on the lead. Floating Beauty calls it a day. On the outside, Ice Cold is into 4th. Tap It Janali needs to do more, and Pula is well behind as they round the turn. Esternia has lost the lead. Neon Beach under a hard ride. Denim and Pearls joins them. Denim and Pearls takes the lead at the top of the lane, and Denim and Pearls shakes away. Denim and Pearls by 2. Denim and Pearls by 3 off the turn. Ice Cold is into 2nd. She's run a very good race today. Denim and Pearls needs to finish. Here's Ice Cold on the outside. Ice Cold and Julian Leperoux run right by Denim and Pearls, and Ice Cold has won the year's end stakes. Denim and Pearls with no excuses 2nd. Neon Beach was 3rd. Photo for 4th, Esternia, and Tap It Janali.
Well, the Indiana bred, and it seems like this is the recipe. Matoli out of a Street Sense mare. Ice Cold, and Kenny McPeak's horses came to run today. You know, his colt got a little unlucky in the last race, but this filly ran down Denim and Pearls right on the square.
Well, she really did, and Denim and Pearls had a good trip. Looked like she made that winning move with the short wire, the short finish line at the 16th pole. But Ice Cold was resolute. Julian Leperoux is riding so well, and I just feel like he's really found his confidence again. Talked about it earlier in the week, how sometimes you get down on yourself, you start second-guessing yourself. You can't do that as a rider. It's not that your skills deteriorate, it's your belief in your skills, and he's believing in himself, and he's getting a steady supply of live runners from the Kenny McPeak run.
Denim and Pearls just did not kick away, Mig. I mean, she kind of was on the slow grind anyway, and it just seemed like Ice Cold had that extra kick more than her. But when Ice Cold went by her, she kind of saw her again, but it was over by that time.
Yeah, it was pretty much over, and unlike the Colts, who I thought their gallop outs were all pretty strong. All of these fillies looked like they were pretty much all in by the time they got to us, about a 16th past the finish line.
So Julian Leperoux and Kenny McPeak, and the winning success here on New Year's Eve. Matoli out of a Street Sense mare in the Indiana bred gets it done in the year's end.
Ice Cold, guys, and just cold-blooded. Julian Leperoux with Ice Cold picking off the favorite, Denim and Pearls. Maggie, was that more Denim and Pearls just coming up short in the very end, or Ice Cold going out and getting her?
I think a little bit of both. Ice Cold feels like one where it takes her a while to get into her stride, and she really found it today more so than anybody else, where I wonder if Denim and Pearls kind of true to the majority of Into Mischiefs, they thrive at a one-turn mile. It seems to be just their jam, and they seem to have more gears when they are going that one-turn configuration, where maybe around 2 turns it dulled it a bit for Denim and Pearls. As Paula said, she was just kind of on the grind the whole way and maybe not able to get into her stride late.
Expecting her to open up late. And when she didn't,
right.
And here's the danger. An ice-cold Julien Leperoux, first full winter at Oaklawn. Kenny McPeak says this group collectively of horses he's training right now is the best he's ever had. And he has a lot of them. He's heard that before. He means it this time.
Okay.
Horses at Turfway, horses at Oaklawn, in New York, also in South Florida, and a young prospect here to watch moving forward. Ice cold, taking down the year's end stakes. Right back to Paul at Oaklawn.
I'm with the winning owner here, Mr. McGreevy, and his wife Meg as well. They are the winning owners of Ice Cold. Wow, what an unbelievable New Year's Eve for you. Saw you jumping up and down on the racetrack.
It was fabulous, fabulous. I love this filly. She's so fun to watch. You know, you get a little pace out in front of her, and she's going to give it all she's got and run them down, and she did that today. She beat a great filly out there today. We're thrilled.
You know, Kenny's not here right now. Did he tell you anything earlier this morning?
Kenny never tells me anything.
I saw
Kenny told me where to stay and what to eat. That's all he told me.
They got to go take a picture. Congratulations to the McGreevies as Ice Cold gets it done. Kenny McPeak watching from Louisiana, probably cheering.
He didn't tell him anything? might be the only one.
I do believe that he obviously told him where to go eat. Because, I don't, but this is one that they bought for $65,000, as he said, an Indiana bred, and she is paying dividends now, earning over $100,000 in just her 5th career start.
We've seen it time and time again. Kenny McPeak involved with the acquisition, the purchase of these horses that not expensive, and a great eye for these types that moving forward you see them, these inexpensive race horses that he trains involved in the purchase that go on and do great things.
It's true. And there's several that, Curlin comes to mind, that he bought that didn't necessarily train. So he certainly does, I think, some of his best work at the sales ground.
Yeah, Swiss Skydiver, another that comes to mind. Ice Cold here, and Julien Leperoux, 880 over the odds-on favorite. Denim and Pearls, 5, 7, 4, 3 in the year's end stakes. 9 down, 1 left at Oaklawn Park. Winding down our coverage on New Year's Eve, and that 10th and final looks like this. The second program ever at Oaklawn, dedicated to 2-year-olds. And these are 2-year-old fillies. Maidens, mile and a 16th. Your thoughts going in, Maggie?
I love the name, on pun intended, and she looks like a legitimate player in here, being beaten by West Omaha, who would run second in the Untappable with an 81 in her subsequent start. Also, we just saw Pula. She didn't run very well in that race, but again, pun intended, looks like she could break through here. Interesting pedigree on the first-time starter, number 2, Ava's Look, half-sister to Hoosier Filly.
By Mastery, Ava's Look currently, I can't see the odds, 18 to 1. And tomorrow, as these 2-year-olds turn 3, the first step towards the Arkansas Derby, we'll have live coverage of the Smarty Jones, a little bit different of a Smarty Jones this year, Maggie, for the first time, a mile and a 16th, a $300,000 purse, but perhaps more important, the points available qualifying for horses trying to qualify for the Kentucky Derby.
Exactly, 10 points on the line. That was at 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. So all the way back through 5th, being rewarded. And we see some of the usual suspects as far as trainers are concerned, with Brad Cox sending out 3, Steve Asmussen with 2. So looking forward, and Kenny McPeak will have one in there who actually has the fastest race, albeit in a sprint, in Mystic Dan.
Trying to win stakes races on back-to-back days. The Smarty Jones tomorrow. We'll have that for you right here on America's Day at the Races. Saying goodbye to our viewers on Bally SoCal San Diego. For our viewers on Fox Sports 1, we have one left from Oaklawn Park, the 10th and final, winding down our New Year's Eve coverage. Stay tuned.
Country Grammar, resilient, fighting back, retaking the lead, and it's Country Grammar to win the Hollywood Gold Cup.
Country Grammar getting the upper hand, draws alongside, and Country Grammar with his Dates with Destiny in front a length and a half. Country Grammar won the Dubai World Cup.
At Keeneland, a horse will always be measured in hands. Hands that see, that sense, that speak. Hands that hold our sport to a higher standard. Not for our sake, but for theirs. For the love of the horse, for generations to come.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Bet this 10th race at Oaklawn on your Naira Bets account with the field updated odds. 2-year-old fillies, while the favorite number 6, pun intended, is 8-5. Take a look at number 11 in Just My Heels, 20-1 outsider, trained by Ron Moquet. Moquet, who is seeking a second win in the afternoon, won with a first-time starter, Time for Truth, earlier today. He has had some good ones over the years, certainly Whitmore, one that comes to mind. Moquet, who's never too far from the racetrack, you might say he has the best seat in the house. And in fact, Ron Moquet, in the end, he's essentially making the best of a very challenging situation.
My version of the clubhouse when you go to the racetrack. I always think that the universe takes care of me, but I couldn't imagine doing my job in the winter months without this location.
Ron Moquet built his hideaway along the Oaklawn backstretch in 2015. 3 years later, he was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, an autoimmune disease that makes him especially susceptible to large crowds. He had no idea just how beneficial having Oaklawn as his next-door neighbor would end up being.
Let's go to this rider, something that he'll forget before he gets to the gates. And different riders are different. You know, Joe Talamo, he kind of warms up and hangs out until he gets there. If you miss Santana, you just miss him. He's a very hyper-focused guy. Takes a little to get used to because I like to watch the horses walk off whenever I leg them up and stuff. And you don't get to do that, but you get to watch them back here warm up. So it's you gain some stuff whenever you lose something else. Where's the horse? It's just a sloppy track. I was going to try to tell him to get involved and go on.
They're off. Reeves is the leader past the half-mile pole. A 2-length advantage with Glory's Eyes to take second. Closer third at the rail.
From the inside now, trying to get her. All of our dreams, Stargarita. Final surge. All of our dreams in Stargarita.
Third.
Wow, this is an inch.
Third. But I think if we get to the outside, she's probably a lot happier. So this gives me a little good feeling that she might win here at the meet if we get a good trip. So off of a year layoff, that's pretty good. Well, I wouldn't be in Hot Springs, Arkansas if it wasn't for Oaklawn. You know, I wouldn't ever go to Louisville if it wasn't for Churchill. I go where the horses go. And Oaklawn is so endeared to me because Hot Springs and the surrounding area all share my enthusiasm for the horses and the races. We have the craziest, coolest fans there are.
He says it like it is. What you see is what you get. Terrific horseman. Easy to root for, Ron Moquet.
It's so easy, especially him and his wife Laura, who's done so much too with the aforementioned Whitmore in retirement. She posted one of the funniest videos of Whitmore, who was coming off a bit of a freshening, and she decided, well, I'll just stick him in this this little jumper show, and he bucked after every jump. I got such a kick out of it.
Ron Moquet with Whitmore, Paul and Richie, and the work he did with Whitmore, and he was more like a psychiatrist than anything else as far as trying to get him to focus and bring his best, and certainly a memorable moment winning that Breeders' Cup Sprint a couple of years ago at Keeneland.
Yeah, it was kind of a win for Hot Springs. I mean, the horse is so popular here, and Ronnie Moquet is so popular. You can almost tell when you talk to Ronnie, he's kind of the mayor down here of the guys. He's just a phenomenal person. His son's a phenomenal person. And they just do things the right way.
They do the things the right way, and you know the work he did with Whitmore to keep a horse in that form, that hold his form line for that many years, not for a season or two, for several years, is just remarkable. And he's just one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. I mean, my first day, I got up early, I was walking around here, ran into him, and you just feel welcome. And like you said, he is like the unofficial mayor of Oaklawn Park.
He's just great. He had a horse, put it this way, he had a horse lose by a nose the other day in a bad bob. He comes back to me and Richie and he goes, oh, the jockey said the horse ran out of training. He just got such a great sense of humor. It's unbelievable. But, he just brings a smile to your face, and he's seen the change come here at Oaklawn. And the other thing about it, too, he's so involved in the aftercare. You hear that bell ring behind us?
Yep.
It's because of Ron Moquet.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about that bell ringing earlier, and I think it's great. We all, have to give back to these horses that give us so much. But if you win a race, how are you not donating to Thoroughbred Retirement? You're on the spot there. You got to ring the bell.
They put you on the spot. And you know what? Here's the other thing, Lafitte. Ronnie said he made a couple calls to New York, and New York answered. That bell's going to be in the New York winner's circle because of Ron Moquet.
Did you mention to him, like, hey, thanks for the tip on Time for Truth a little bit earlier on?
By the way, we do want to mention that Time for Truth ran faster than the stakes race, 110 and change. We were talking about that, yep. And I said something to Ronnie. I said, Ronnie, you told us about all the other horses, and Asmussen was right behind him and goes, don't listen to anything he says.
Ronnie, he's really like a talent scout, and especially with the 2-year-olds, he will tell you, again, what you see is what you get, exactly what he thinks in terms of performance, not only from the horses he's running, but the others as well that he's been watching training.
Yeah, he actually, I feel like, knows more about, he knows obviously a lot about his own horses, but he's got his finger on everybody else's horse too a little bit here. And as Paul said, yeah, Ron texted me the other day and saying that the bell is coming to here in New York. He just needs somebody to run it, so to speak, to get those owners to go over and ring the bell. So he kind of put me in charge of that, which I need to get working on.
Kind of have your hands full. I have a lot. We can put in one more task.
I said, Ron, it'll be no problem whatsoever in Saratoga. Here at Aqueduct, I might struggle.
A little bit trickier here. Ron Moquet and trying to pull off an upset in the 10th and final with that filly in Just My Heels, an outsider by 2-time Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Midnight Loot. Riders up, post parade, and the nightcap winding down 2023 here on America's Day at the Races.
Jackie's Warrior quickly in front here by 2 lengths. Here comes Jackie's Warrior up the inside to take over the lead from Life is Good. Jackie's Warrior remains undefeated here at Saratoga, and he wins an unprecedented Grade 1 stakes at the Spa for the 3rd straight season.
For the last few years, thoroughbred racing has been taking vital steps to make our sports safer. These include the use of independent veterinarians who check every horse before every race, strict anti-doping and medication controls with severe punishments for violators, uniform safety standards for every track, and a single national authority empowered to create reforms and enforce new standards across the board. With each important measure, more data is gathered. Accountability is demanded. And while we've made progress, we are committed to doing more, so that at every track, in every race, safety takes the lead. Visit ntra.com/safety for more.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then collusion illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Great to have you with us. America's Day at the Races. As you can see, these 2-year-old fillies in the paddock for the 10th and final mile and a 16th, $115,000 purse. This is normally, Maggie, when we would have you there inspecting very carefully, providing the data in terms of what they look like, because we don't have a lot of data to go by on paper.
No, we don't. And especially, the mile and a 16th can be troublesome for some, and it can be what many are crying out for.
JK, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. And looking at them physically can give you some clues.
JK, one final selection, one final winner before we end the year.
Well, you're a little presumptuous there, Lafitte. I don't know if it's going to be a winner, but I'm going to try my hardest. I'm going to go with the inside horse, Little Jamie. Horse showed speed last time, got a little tired late. It'll be the second time trying to go 2 turns. I like the inside draw with horses that have some speed. We know what we're going to get from them. Send them away from there. Hold that position on the inside. Make the rest of them chase you around. There's a lot of kind of unknowns with this group. But for me, the inside horse, Little Jamie, we know this horse has a little bit of talent. Made the lead last time. Just couldn't hold on. I'm hoping that this time will hold on. And for those who bet him last time at 52-1, bet her last time at 52-1, you won't get that. But, take 6-1, that they cash those checks too.
How you feeling about Texas tomorrow night?
Hook 'em horns, baby.
He is going to be tilting. He is going to be on tilt tomorrow. The Sugar Bowl, Washington, and UT. But first, let's see if he can provide us that winner, that last winner here in 2023. These 2-year-old fillies as they make the turn in the post-parade. Who'd you wind up with here?
Like I said, I did like, pun intended,
that's right.
stretching out. But Enigmatic comes off a bit of a troubled trip, taking the blinkers off. I thought she was a bit rank with them on in her last start.
Currently 2-1, pun intended, the favorite. In this 10th and final Oaklawn post-parade, there is Little Jamie looking to graduate in her 3rd career start.
Look, and last time, as JK said, there's something to build off of, right? You like when they show speed, they wake up a little bit, and they just get tired. And now, second time around, there should be more stamina built in.
You mentioned the pedigree earlier on the first-time starter, Ava's Look.
Yeah, exactly. I have to Hoosier filly. Tough to go a mile and a 16th at first asking, though she looks very fit for Riley Mott.
Happy talk for the coach.
Blinkers going on. She has just been really even and one-paced in her races.
Speaking of one-paced, one-geared, that's been the issue with Lost Love.
Yeah, and I think she's facing tougher here coming out of restricted maiden special weights / maiden claimers.
Amy Z. We know an Amy Z.
She's
16-1. It might be.
I don't know. We'll see a Maximus Mischief stretching out. We'll see what she does here.
Pun intended, the favorite.
Pun intended, she's stretching out. Like I said, flattered by the company she kept last time. There's some pedigree with this daughter of Curlin.
Babe in the Woods would be a big surprise.
Yeah, a claim for John Haran trying to pull off a major upset.
The 8, extremely gruntled. Julian Leperoux looking to go back-to-back.
Well, she's on her toes. She's a bit of a headstrong type. She has been keen and rank in several of her efforts.
That girl collected 57-1 outsider.
Yep, and she's going to have to stretch out. She could be a pace factor, which could, mess things up for some of the inside speed horses.
Lilm's Constitution, not much in her debut.
Yeah, you're going to hope that she shows more in the stretch out and distance, though that was back in September, going first time out for Great Compton, though.
In Just My Heels for Ron Moquet.
Blinkers going on this filly who didn't show any sort of speed first time out, going the 6 at Churchill.
In those West colors, enigmatic for Brad Cox to the outside.
Yeah, Blinkers coming off. I think it's a good move for a filly that she got pinched back at the start, and then she was a bit rank while trying to rate inside of horses last time out and lacked a bit of room at the top of the stretch.
With Flavien Prat aboard, strong second choice, 5-2. Paul and Richie, let's close out the year with a winner, shall we? Who graduates in this 10th and final from Oaklawn Park?
Yeah, we'd like to close this out with a winner for you, Lafitte and Maggie. I like the 6 horse in here. I do think, pun intended, for Steve Asmussen, will like to stretch out. Steve's one of those guys that's very reasonable. I mean, let's be honest. He had to justify out of a Candy Ride mare, and he wants to keep sprinting. If he wants to go long, I'm just trusting in Steve Asmussen. So I think pun intended is going to be tough in here. And I think Enigmatic is maybe getting a little bit overbet on the outside.
Yeah, and again, you got to take into account outside posts, what kind of trip they work out into the first turn here. Believe it or not, I'm not going to pick, pun intended, for all the puns that I continually come up with and enjoy coming up with. I'm going to go down to the inside with Little Jamie. I just really caught my eye in the walk over to the paddock, inside draw. I've been so impressed with Isaac Castillo. And that's one of the fun parts of this job, Paul, is sometimes we're not as familiar with riders or trainers in other jurisdictions, but covering Oaklawn the last few years, Isaac Castillo has just risen so immensely in my eyes. And then watching him ride at Aqueduct and shipping in here. Yesterday, he threaded his way through a field of horses as adeptly as any rider I've ever seen. So I'm going to go with the 1, Little Jamie from the inside. I can't come up with any puns.
No, I mean, I'm with you. Listen, you and JK on the same horse. Are we dismissing? Listen, Steve Asmussen's having a monster day. Kenny McPeak's looking for his 3rd with Extremely Gruntled, and Le Peru is aboard. This horse been behind Amy Z, did not have the best of trips. You're getting 7-1, and like I said, McPeak's runners have been firing today.
Yeah, they have, and you talked about that too. When a barn like that gets a little streaky, their horses are running well. They seem to all run well, and kind of in bunches. I think this is a really difficult race.
Yeah.
I do have a little hard time taking 5-2 on the 12 horse, though. That's just a tough post. Got to work out a trip.
Yeah, I do like the 6, but it's tough for me. I do think the 3 is taking sneaky money here, Lafitte, the Keith Asmussen runner. And another note, I just have to say, yesterday we were talking about, what does Saratoga remind you of? And I said it reminds me of Wrigley Field, because that you can kind of go outside and you can have a beer right after the races. Like when I played at Wrigley Field, it was great. You could sneak out the back. You never wanted to go to the bus because they'd shake your bus. But so now I get here today, and the owner of the racetrack, Mr. Charles Sella, comes to Mig and I and says, "You were on the right track yesterday." I said, "What do you mean?" "How about this?" He hands me this. Celebrated Chicago architect Zachary Taylor Davis was hired to do the Oaklawn grandstand. He also did Wrigley Field. Unbelievable moment.
That is amazing.
That's crazy. Wow.
Incredible. And one of these tracks, while not every racetrack in North America has large attendance numbers on a day-to-day basis, not every track is Saratoga, not every track has the kind of attendance that Oaklawn does. You've been there on some of the bigger days, specifically Arkansas Derby Day, that big event feel with that crowd humming. They love the races, and they turn out in droves.
Yeah, Tom, my husband, came with me last year, and he just got to hang out as a fan, and he was blown away with how much fun he had, how much fun Oaklawn Park is. And you're right, it is standing room only, shoulder to shoulder on those big days out there. And they open up the infield as well, which is a lot of fun. They have bands out there, they have food. So it's truly a really fun, all-inclusive experience.
Same architect as Wrigley Field, Oaklawn Park, Saratoga of the South. Who knows? Maybe we'll see some of these youngsters in some of the bigger races down the line at Oaklawn, these 2-year-old fillies. We were just discussing Enigmatic, number 12, the second choice at 5-2. That is the Ron Moquet trained long shot in Just My Heels. Wanted to revisit Enigmatic's second career start and the second place finish, Maggie, at Churchill Downs. Flavien Prat rides today. Florent Giroux riding on this afternoon, second best on that afternoon.
Yeah, watch her. She's in the pink, so she has to pull her way out there, and you saw her having to wait for room before that. So I think, you know, having to wait for room, she's going to get passed here by the eventual winner, but she kind of digs in is game. I get what the guys are saying. That post position does her absolutely no favors, and, you know, it hurts her chances, I think. But I do kind of like her off of that effort coming in here for the Brad Cox barn. And like I said, I think the blinkers coming off allows Flavien Prat to, she's a little bit more malleable for him, because in her previous efforts, it's been tough to handle.
Enigmatic, see what Prat does from that tricky outside post position. Just this concept of this particular day on New Year's Eve, it makes too much sense. The second year in a row they've done it. Your thoughts on this program just dedicated to 2-year-olds? Every race for 2-year-olds today at Oaklawn.
I love it because it's kind of a compliment to what Churchill Downs does in November, in that it's perfect timing, especially since Oaklawn has begun their racing season now in December. So it really allows people to target these races. And for the big purses, I think it's great. And because we don't often see, well, there are many maiden special weight races on this card, we don't get to see many allowance races for 2-year-olds. You know, you're always struggling to find a condition when you have a 2-year-old that has one.
These purses, $900,000 a day on average. Tomorrow, that's Smarty Jones with a $300,000 purse and a mile and a 16th for the first time as well. First step towards the Arkansas Derby. We'll have it for you right here on America's Day at the Races.
What about the 3? The 3, Happy
Talk,
has been bet, excuse me, in both starts and has run so evenly. Now, with the blinkers on, does that give her another gear? She's a big, good-looking daughter, typical of the Wayne Lucas barn, but of Arrowgate. Has a lovely pedigree being out of a Speightstown mare. I wonder what she does. Again, she's taking a lot of money.
I like that Keith Asmussen, Steve Asmussen's son, is riding Happy Talk for D. Wayne Lucas and trying to beat his dad, Steve Asmussen, who trains, pun intended, the 9-5 favorite at post time.
Yes. Ooh.
The story within the story.
I wonder if Dad took him off.
I'll show you, Dad.
Did Dad take him off? Or, yeah, I mean, it would appear that way, right?
I'll show you, Dad. Keith can go up to his dad now and say, like, what? I won more races than you. I've won more races than you as a jockey.
A lot of smack talk going in the Asmussen house.
Keith Asmussen riding Happy Talk for the coach, Steve, with pun intended, who is the favorite at 9-5. Where do you think Joel Rosario wants to place pun intended early on?
He wants to break forwardly. He wants to be right, I would say, behind any of these sort of maybe stretch out kind of quote-unquote cheaper speeds.
And let's see what Flavien Prat does with Enigmatic from the far outside, number 12. One final time, Matt Dinnerman standing by with the call. Post time, 2-year-old fillies in the 10th and final of the year at Oaklawn Park.
Two-bore, pun intended, into the outside, Enigmatic. We're ready to go in the finale. And Laroff in the nightcap. Amy Z sent for speed, pun intended as well. Pun intended snatches the lead. Amy Z to the inside second, and Little M's Constitution third on the course, and Just My Heels 4 deep as they charge into that turn. Little Jamie down on the inside in the blue and orange, racing with Happy Talk. Extremely Gruntled is 3 deep with that party. Ava's Look, the first-time starter, 5 lengths behind in midfield, followed by Enigmatic. Girl Collected, they're side by side. Lost Love has one runner beat. That's Babe in the Woods, the long shot as they swing up the backstretch, pun intended. And Lifetime Start number 2, looking to give trainer Steve Asmussen his 4th on the card today, and pun intended, it paves the way by about a half length. Little M's Constitution second, and Just My Heels in a good position third, 3 deep. Then Amy Z, Happy Talk 5th, a length in front of Extremely Gruntled. Little Jamie, Ava's Look, Enigmatic, those 3. 4 and 5 lengths behind is now Enigmatic, loses contact with that pair into the turn, a space of about 7 coming back to Lost Love. Girl Collected drops out of it, and Babe in the Woods is far behind as they round the far turn. Pun intended, still a neck in front. Little M's Constitution in an all-out drive, and Just My Heels under the stick third. Here comes Amy Z down on the inside. She's got run, looking for a spot to go. Extremely Gruntled swings to the extreme outside, and the finale in 2023 at Oaklawn Park. Pun intended, switches leads by 2. Happy Talk is chasing. Amy Z finds a seam between horses. Pun intended, with a furlong to go, holds on to the lead. Amy Z, Happy Talk second and third. 16th to go. It's Pun Intended. The daughter of Curlin loved the route, and she is a maiden no longer. Pun Intended by 4. She had a big burst late to win it. Amy Z second, Happy Talk third, and little JB on the inside was 4th in the nightcap.
6.53 to close out the card. Pun intended. Wow. She picked up her ears late in this race with Joel Rosario. Went right to the front, and Steve Aston with 4 winners on the card.
Yeah, 4 wins for Steve, 3 for Joel Rosario, boy, and she just kept finding more. I mean, just really impressive. The last 16th of a mile looked like everybody else kind of started struggling, and this daughter of Curlin kicked on again. That was impressive. I got to tell you, I get goosebumps when they come by here the first time. I feel like I'm back in the action. We're so close to it.
You keep on saying, I'll take it all out. Just don't put me, like I say all the time, just don't put me back in the ice tub. Just put me out on the field. And from both Mig and I, we had to come up with our favorites 2023. My favorite thing in 2023 was working with you guys.
Yeah,
and you myself.
Absolutely. It's so great to work with all you guys. Not only are you great colleagues, you're all great friends. And Maggie, my New Year's resolution, I'm embracing technology. I had the iPad out. I thought you'd be proud of that.
I'm very proud of that. To save the environment, Mig. Love it.
Don't go too wild tonight, guys. You know, the party, New Year's Eve, they know how to do that right in Hot Springs. It's a school night. We're right back at it tomorrow afternoon. Paul and Mig, great stuff on site. The enthusiasm from Richard Migliori there and the excitement at Oaklawn Park, all the 2-year-old races. We will have those results when we come back, winding things down on this New Year's Eve on America's Day at the Races. Great call, Matt Dinnerman, with Pun Intended. It looked like we had a race for a few strides, and in an instant, she rebroke, won by daylight to break through in her second career start. Pun Intended. Big afternoon for Asmussen at Oaklawn.
Down to the wire, Verstappen.
Here's the finish, ancient roll.
War Bomber's won the King Edward.
Steel Team has won the Twilight Derby.
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome to the Adelphi Racing Club experience. Take ownership of stakes-winning thoroughbreds like Funny How, racing at the highest level circuits.
Funny How is in front. It's Funny How who's up by 3 lengths, approaching the 16th pole. It's all Funny How. Funny How, Katie Davis more than amused. Funny How wins the Broadway.
Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference, and let's win races together.
Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on FS1, where we just watched, pun intended, break through in her second career start. That was impressive, Maggie.
It really was. And Joel Rosario, not a rider who goes to his crop often, he flicked it at her, and she had another gear and then some. She really spurted away from this field all on her own accord late.
I was saying, Amy Z, the outsider, has a shot. Oh no, she doesn't.
Just kidding.
In an instant, opened back up. Pun intended. Remember her name moving forward. 6-5-3-1 in the 10th and final at Oaklawn Park. Fun afternoon of New Year's Eve racing here. A highlight, I thought, you were downstairs for this, the Queens County earlier today, and that gutty win from Croupier, an exciting finish.
Yeah, and talking to his rider, Kendrick Armouche, who's been aboard him throughout his career, he was telling me he loves a fight. It really emboldened him when the horses kind of came up on either side of him and really propelled him forward. So JK was talking about it before they went in the gate, that, you know, kind of regrouping after trying a Triple Crown series, and it looks like they've done just that, and they're going to have a nice 4-year-old on their hands.
Exciting. It is the 118th running of the Queens County. Great. We don't get to do this very often. Great to have you on set.
Yeah,
Lots
likewise.
of fun.
I'll see you back here tomorrow. Same time, same place, with an extra person.
I'm just glad you didn't do the I'll see you next year joke. I was kind of half
I
waiting.
have a great New Year's
waiting
joke,
for
but
that.
it's probably inappropriate. We're running out of time.
It is inappropriate. I've already heard it. Very inappropriate. For Maggie Wolfendale, I'm Lafitte Pinkai, Paula Duca, Richie Migliori on site at Oaklawn. We'll see you tomorrow. Happy New Year, everyone. Kendrick Armouche emerging victorious. Lots of smiles in the winner's circle. And 2-year-olds out at Oaklawn. Valentine Candy just too fast to catch. Had some trouble early on, was bottled up, but in the end found room and goes on to a second stakes win at the meet. And ice cold Julien Leperoux running down the favorite in the year's end. For real this time. Good night, everyone. Happy New Year.
War Dancer, New York's leading turf sire again in 2023 with standouts like Barrage at Saratoga.
Here's Barrage with a final surge. Barrage got him.
Warsaichi dominant on the dirt at Finger Lakes.
Warsaichi has scampered well clear. Warsaichi all the way with the top spot.
And Danzig Queen on the tap of the surface at Woodbine.
And Danzig Queen will come away and win by a length.
Consistently producing winners on dirt, turf, and synthetic. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.